Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Charles Derrick.
This is J Rob.
And this is Bringing the Noise. J-Rob, here we go again.
Yes, sir.
We've got somebody on the show that both of us know real well.
Brought out one of my best shirts to talk to this guy tonight.
There you go.
You know, look, when we went around all these towns all those years, there was always we called them the local heroes, right? The bands who played in a town that they were going to draw, and you didn't want to play anywhere around their date, kind of thing, because everybody and their mama was going to go see that band in that town that drew like that. In all those years and all those towns we went to in several states, there was local heroes, but I didn't really know of many local legends. Okay. But who we got on the show today was Tupelo local legend. Okay. Now, it wasn't just local.
Oh, my.
These guys, you know, and with his band, that in the recent decades called the Spunk Monkeys, a lot of people are familiar with them. You know, they ended up touring and playing a lot of places. I mean, going all the way to Alaska, all the way down to Florida. I mean, playing a lot of different markets and kicking tail all over. But legends in around North Mississippi and Tupelo, there is nobody bigger, period. Okay. And when you go up there, if you ever play there, musicians, I'm telling you right now, if you haven't heard of Matt Nolan, you will before you leave. I can promise you that. Okay. And, you know, like I said, you know, these guys, they, you know, played all over, and we got some interesting things to talk about tonight, but I want to throw out there that when it came to show bands, okay, people trying to put on a show, and I'm talking about production, I'm talking about pyro, okay,
Performance.
yeah, guys, we're talking about a show, right? These guys push the envelope way before Great White burned the club down. Okay. These guys were pushing the envelope, and there's just so many things that, and I've been around Matt a lot. I've recorded with Matt, and there's a lot of things that I thought I knew, but then I started digging a lot deeper, and things got a whole lot more interesting. And I can't wait to hear some of this stuff and bring back some memories. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's been doing it since the very early 90s, y'all. You know, we've had Cam, we've had him talk about, you know, that long. I didn't realize it had been that long that Matt had been playing music. We're talking about a guy that was making around $400 a week in high school in the 10th grade playing in Western Connection. Okay. Guys, absolute career in this business. Okay. And I've said that a million times. Most people cannot say that they were able to have a career in music. This guy's done it. The son of a principal, high school principal, you know, he's done it. He's done it. He can tell you how the road really is, the good, the bad, and the ugly. He's seen it. Okay. Played in Las Vegas. All right. This guy also is a engineer, producer, you know, his own studio. And he look, the stories go really, really deep, you know, but this guy right here always usually has a smile on his face, and he's trying to get other people to smile. Always. It doesn't matter where you're at. You can be at his house, you can be at a show, you can be at a restaurant with him. This guy's always wanting to put a smile on people's faces. All right. He's got a beautiful wife, Beth. Got some awesome dogs in the house. Yeah. And there's so many more accolades, but we're going to get to them. I'm going to save some of this juice for you. The guys, well, one more. He's opened up for Poison and Warrant. So that's a pretty big highlight as well. We got our friend Matt Nolan on the show tonight. What's up, buddy?
What an intro. I'd like to meet this guy.
Oh no, dude. I was gonna go deeper, but I'm saving some of this juice.
Oh man, it's good to be here. It's good to see you, Derek, and J Rob. And we've had a lot of good times together, just us. So
yes, sir. Looking
forward to talking to you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for spending the time doing it, man.
Absolutely.
Great seeing you.
Absolutely. So look, we always start at the beginning. So it's you and Chad's what, 4 years older? Is that right?
4 years older, right?
4 years older.
He's 28 and I'm 24.
Got it. And
steady.
And your dad was a high school principal, but at what time did that start? Was you guys always, was he always a principal or?
Yeah, he was, he's always been a principal my entire life. Yeah, he retired in the year 2000. It was 2000. So, I was born in a few years before that. But he was always a principal, and I guess whenever we moved to which I don't know how you guys want to do this chronologically as far as where it all started, but I guess where it started, my dad's influence actually started. Started me off because trying to put a smile on your face, but it ain't working right now.
Just take your time, brother.
He had a gospel quartet, and they had made an 8-track tape and everything, and that was my first knowledge of music, was listening to all those gospel songs, and hearing my dad coming through the speakers just blew my mind. I guess first time I remember it, I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and I'm like, how are you in those speakers, Daddy? But I remember I would wear that 8-track out over and over and over and over, and to this day, I still can like hear every bit of it. And I haven't listened to it in, I don't know, over 20 years probably. But so yeah, that's where the influence really started. That, and my mother had a piano in the house, and she played piano for the church, and my dad would lead the singing, and those were my first memories and influence of any kind of music right there. So it all started with my parents.
Yeah, that had to be a trip, man, for a little kid. You know, your dad, and
Yeah.
listen to the radio and everything else, and you press play on something like that, like, for real, you? I mean,
Right.
it'd be awesome.
It was. I mean, it's like, because you don't know how that stuff works anyway. It's like our drummer Jody. He
Yeah.
Whenever he was a kid, he used to think that the bands were playing in the studio every time that, and it always puzzled him how the next band, how they get all those bands in the studio.
Yeah,
So,
they got out of the way that quick to start playing.
So, I think that's the way he thought. That's the way I think he thinks of it. But so as a kid, your parents are your superheroes anyway, and then there they are coming out your pickup truck speakers, and you're hearing these songs, and you're hearing them sing, and you're like, wow, yeah, my dad's cool.
Right.
So that's how it all started as far as me falling in love with music.
Well, I know it's got to be tough on you. I know your father passed away. Was it August?
August, right?
August. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew it was around that time. And I know how many people, from what I could tell on social media. I don't know if I ever had the pleasure to get to meet him or not. But I could tell online that a lot of people were really thought a lot of him.
Right. Yeah, they did. He was a very respected and loved man. Very much.
When did Kiss come into the picture? Your brother obviously took to him and brought it home, right? And told you about him or something, maybe, or how did Kiss come into the picture? And I know because you guys were still real young.
Chad had went to school, and there was a talent show. I think he was probably maybe 8 at the time, 8 or 9 years old. So I would have been, 4 or 5. I wasn't even in school. And he tells the story about how all day long there was this commotion going on about, the talent show, and all these high schoolers were going to end it by doing a Kiss song. And he was like, what is, asking around, what is a kiss? What is Kiss? And had no idea. But sure enough, at the end of the talent show, all the lights went out, and these high schoolers, who, whenever you're in elementary, are heroes to you anyway, they all dress up in the paint, and they have the aluminum foil around their cowboy boots and stuff, and they come up and they lip sync some song or something, and boom, his mind is blown. So he comes back home to tell me all about it, and my mind is blown. And so we've got to, I was a Kiss fan, and I hadn't even ever seen them or heard them before. And so, but it was just such something in your imagination, like just a superhero kind of thing, that whenever you heard somebody talk about it, it's like, they spit fire and they spit blood, and the drums rise up, and then we would sit around at bedtime, and my mom would come in there to do our prayers with us, and we would always pray for a Kiss album. And so that's what we prayed for, a Kiss album. And finally, on my birthday,
he did mention that. I do remember that now. Yeah.
Did he tell you that?
He did. Yeah, about your mom coming and y'all having to pray, and you pray for Kiss album. Yeah.
So we finally got Kiss album on my 6th birthday, maybe. Yeah, Kiss Unmasked was our first Kiss album.
Oh wow!
And we wore it out. Had that and a little Fisher Price record player. and we played it to death. And it was like, and plus, you know, that album, it was a cartoon cover of them, you know, so they were cartoon characters, and we're like still trying to figure out what's going on here, you know, reading in between the songs and listening to every guitar note they played and just trying to figure it all out. And so that's where it kind of came in. That's where the Kiss addiction came in, I guess. And then finally, we got a couple more albums in 1984. My cousin Marty and his girlfriend at the time, Jo Beth, took my brother and I to go see him in Memphis, and it was all over after that. It was a lick it up tour. They didn't even wear the makeup, but we've got to do that. We want to do that. Whatever they're doing on stage, that's what we have to do this. We have to do it. There's no question. It's like life has changed. Life has changed. It's like whenever you go see if you were to go see the Harlem Globetrotters, you go see Larry Bird play basketball, and it just influenced. I have to be a basketball star. I thought we wanted to be. We was like, and it was no big deal to do it. Like we're in Blue Springs, Mississippi, saying, okay, let's be rock stars. Let's do that. Can't be that hard.
Not okay. So your parents were behind you guys. I mean, you had supportive parents.
Totally supportive. Never stopped us from that. They didn't. And totally supportive, overly supportive of us. You know, they would. Whenever it was time to get instruments, they got us instruments, and it's time to take some lessons. They led us in the right way to get lessons and stuff. So it was, totally supportive.
But now they were careful about certain shows they'd come to, obviously, with him being a principal of a high school. And now your mom, was she a teacher too or something?
She was. She was an elementary teacher for years, and then she ended up being I think she taught 7th grade math, junior high math at Myrtle, and then ended up being a guidance counselor. Okay. So she retired 1 year after my dad.
But I mean, they wasn't coming to the zoo to watch their boys.
They would but it would have to be, out of town. Like they would come to Mulligan's in Starkville back in 1990 and stuff. Them and my uncles and some of their friends would come down there, and they come down there to have fun, but they'd make sure we were okay and everything too. And then whenever I was of course I played at the Western Connection in Tupelo my 10th grade summer. I played there, so I was 15, and none of y'all never went to the Connection. It's a funeral home now, but
oh yeah, I
was
visited the Western Infection a time.
Were you there at the
yeah.
Infection?
Oh yeah.
Back in the day, in like 91, it was so slam packed. 2,000, 2,500 people on Friday and Saturday nights. And,
yeah.
But my dad, he would always he would drive 30 minutes from Myrtle to Tupelo to, whenever it was time to load out. Cause I played 10 to 3 a.m. And the first, couple of times I played there, he would show up, just make sure I didn't get screwed over or anything, make sure I got out of there okay, just kind of look at the situation. And then he realized that the band I was playing with, they were, kind of taking care of me all right and everything. So it was, it was cool. It was all good learning experience, and had a lot of support behind it.
Now tell me about borrowing speakers that are mounted in the high school and at Myrtle, and go play a backyard party somewhere and bringing the speakers back to school and trying to mount them back up there, where they were.
Well, there were some really nice PV SP2 speakers. I think they might have had Black Widows in them. It might have been Scorpions, you know the difference. But we would that was our PA for years. I mean, from the time Misbehaving started up to the first year or two of Spunk Monkeys, really, it's like we would just go get the school speakers. I mean, if we blew them or something, we would just, swing by Walmart on the way back home and get some duct tape, some fingernail polish, whatever it took to put them back. Y'all have all done that. That's why you're laughing.
Oh yeah.
And and be like, they're not going to notice because all they do is talk through them anyway. So, and we would slip them back in at the middle of the night, put them back up. And, but no, my dad, he of course knew that we were using them and everything. He would just let us use them. It's a different day and time back then.
Sure. Yeah.
They could get out sometimes, but at least whenever they got out, there was a Snapchats going left and right.
Mm.
So, you couldn't really pull it off right now, I don't think.
Now, was this with a band called Release?
Release. That was the first band. I think it was, there was something else before that. I think we had a band called Rad before that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love that BMX movie, Rad, from the 80s.
Yeah. We my brother and I, we were into BMX biking and everything too. We would jump our bikes into lakes and stuff, all that kind of stuff. But we were a Release. We played a talent show, and it was me, Chris Murphy. No, Chris was in the second one. It was me, Chad on guitar, Matt Young on guitar, Stacy Kitchens singing, which actually later became our drummer's first wife's sister. Well, she was our drummer's first wife's sister. So we've got a big circle of family in this whole story. But so, and then we had a bass player at rehearsal, but he didn't show up for the gig. He didn't show up for the talent show, but it was like no big deal to us. It's like, so what? No bass. Let's go play. Nobody cares about the bass player. So we went and played, and we did.
Now you were the drummer.
Summer of 60. I played drums. I was the drummer then. And we played Summer of 69 and You Give Love a Bad Name. It's right when You Give Love a Bad Name came out.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So it would have been 88, 87, somewhere like that.
Wow. The fact that you remember the songs.
Right. And then we did I can't remember what we did our second show, but
did y'all win? Did y'all win the talent show?
Stacy moved on to bigger and better things, and we had a guy named Chris Murphy came in. He was our singer, and I think we did an encore performance of Summer of '69. That became the staple of the Release shows, from whether it was talent shows or fashion shows or any of that stuff at high school. And so I forgot. Maybe we did Wanted Dead or Alive. I think we did Wanted Dead or Alive. So I remember sitting there learning that at rehearsal. With Chad and Matt were learning it. Matt Young, the other guitar player, were learning it. And then J-Rob, that's whenever I first noticed that little D suspended 4 chord.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
On Wanted Dead or Alive, that's the first. So I was like, that's where we learned that chord from.
Nice.
They're learning it for that fashion show. I think that was for a fashion show.
Remember those little notes like that?
Yeah.
From early on, trying to figure out whatever song, and like it still sticks with you today. Do another song that comes up, I'm like, yep, I know that one.
Or you would hear like a tone. Like I remember hearing Talk Dirty to Me for the first time. That's the other song we did. We did that on the second show. But I remember hearing that distorted guitar on it, and I was like, it sounds different than most other distorted guitars. It was like, how does he do that? So we just thought he was a great guitar player just because of the way his guitar sounded.
Yeah, doing something a little different from the norm.
Yeah, and then he had the pick scrape.
Now,
were you just doing drums at the time, or I guess during this time you're talking about Release?
And I played piano. I played piano. Probably. I'd taken lessons in the first grade from a lady named Camille Anding from New Albany. my good friend Eli, Handing's mother, and took for like a year maybe, and just kind of let it go and went to start playing with GI Joes and stompers and stuff. But then kind of started picking it back up around the 4th grade, I guess, and I'd play drums, and then between songs while they were working on guitar parts, I would go down to the school piano and just mess around and stuff. And I always kind of tinkered with piano up until about 7th grade, and I started getting a little more serious about it then.
Well, didn't Chad tell you to get one for Christmas?
Yeah, he did. That's what I ended up getting. The first, I can't remember if I think we got a keyboard, like I think in my third grade year, and then the next year I got some drums, some pretty good drums for Christmas, and then I just like kind of put the keyboard down and just kind of played drums for about 3 years before I started back on keyboard. But eventually, yeah, I got a whenever Misbehaving started, I got another good keyboard for Christmas then, and kind of that's whenever it really started getting serious.
So it was all about music. I mean, around y'all's house, I mean, it was like I'm noticing a trend here on Christmas presents. I mean,
right.
It was.
Oh yeah, that's all we wanted. We wanted, that's what we wanted to do. We didn't care about anything else. We just didn't care. I mean, we'd go have fun. We'd go big kids and ride bikes and play basketball and skateboard or whatever, But it was we were always very focused on trying to learn music and trying to do something with music. It's like it was serious time whenever it came to that. It's like we didn't want our friends over bothering us while we were getting all serious about
wasn't playing around then.
Well, we weren't playing around, man. We were down to serious business. So, and of course, my dad's gospel tape was an influence, but another big kicker influence was my mom's side of the family. Every one of them, like, pretty much taught my brother and I how to play music. My mother's brother, Uncle Major, he played guitar, and he pretty much showed us a bunch of stuff on guitar and kind of just took us from here, up to another level where we got it. And then my cousin Lindy, which is Uncle Major's daughter, she played piano, and she would show me some things that took me to another level on playing piano. And then, but my cousin Marty Coffee, he was a drummer. And whenever he showed me how to actually play a beat to I remember the first beat he ever showed me was Give Me All Your Lovin' by ZZ Top. And he showed me that beat. And I was like, whoa, how'd you do that on my drum kit? All I do is beat stuff, How'd you do that? And he was like, just do this, cross your arms first. And he was showing it to him. I was like, once again, mind blown. I'm like, my cousin Marty becomes my new hero then. So
yeah,
he showed me drums, and that was the big level up for my brother and I whenever my uncle and our cousins started teaching us how to play and play correctly and play good. And then they would sing, and we'd listen to them harmonize, and and we're like, why is that part different sounding than what she's singing or what he's singing. So we learned about harmony from them just by listening and everything. So, and that's kind of what our childhood would consist of, like during the summers, because they had a swimming pool too. We would go swimming, and then whenever that was over, we'd go to their little practice room, and they would all pick up instruments, and we'd just be, Chad was playing more than I was at that point. I was just sitting there like, well, what am I supposed to be doing? I don't know how to play any of these instruments really.
You got
So I just learned how to play
or
them.
something.
I just learned how to play them all eventually. But
Heck yeah.
those were still just great memories. You know, I remember a lot of it so vividly. I remember my cousin Marty putting on More Than a Feeling by Boston on the vinyl, put the vinyl on and played his drums to it. And I was just like, wow, man, if I could ever just play that, it'd make me so happy.
Mm.
So, but yeah, that was always our thing. You know, we just want to play music and be good at it, as good as we could be.
So how did you get in with the guys at the Western Connection gig, 10th grade? How did that all come into play?
I think they might have kind of stole me from Misbehaving for a few weeks or something.
Okay, so y'all already had Misbehaving go.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
We had it going, and we must have hit a little lull or something, and then they offered me some money to come play Thursday through Saturday, and I was like, okay. I took it, and we weren't really doing anything at the time. I think my brother had moved to college, and he was in a thing called Campus Country, and that was taking up a lot of, back then, Campus Country, which is a country music scholarship program out of Northeast Mississippi, and they would play, multiple times every week. So that took up a lot of his time. So the band was kind of just, not as busy. So I had time to go play at the Western Connection and make a little money. So
now, what instrument were you playing at that point?
Keyboard.
You doing
Keyboard.
it for both bands?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
I thought that's what you're doing.
As soon as Misbehaving started, it was keyboard from there on out.
Gotcha.
So you was taken home for somebody in high school. You was probably, you was talking about around
$125 a night.
Dude,
making more than people are now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The rate has not changed.
It's $125 a night, and I have for a 10th grader. It was like, all my buddies were having to bag groceries and stuff, and not making what I'd make in one night for the whole week. So,
and get that money for playing nice. Music.
Yeah, for playing music, playing keyboard, for playing it wrong a lot of the time. Too.
Yeah, but still, dude.
Because I was playing with older guys, and they would just, throw stuff like, "What's this song called?" It's called "Brick in the Wall." I'm like, I've never heard "Brick in the What?" Pink Floyd. I'm like, I don't know that. I didn't know anything about it.
Oh wow.
So they would. But I muscled my way through it, I guess.
I had one of those, man.
Played there for about 2 months. It's probably about a 2-month thing I played. So played a couple of weeks, and I had some money on me. And I remember I came to town early to Tupelo, and I went to the mall. And I was like, man, I got some money in my billfold. And I went and bought a Super Nintendo. And I was like, look at this. Super Nintendo. I bought it. It was like, I felt pretty accomplished at that point.
Shoot, yeah.
But we would before that I would play Misbehaving, would play Mulligan's in Starkville. That was the first club I ever played. And we would play Thursday through Saturday nights, during school. So I would drive down after I got out of class on a Thursday and play Mulligan's 8 to 12, I think is when we played, and drive back, and go to school. It's like a 2-hour drive. Go to school, get up, drive back to Starkville, and then play Friday and Saturday. So,
oh wow,
I've always been on the go.
You were rolling already in high school. That's unbelievable. Most people's parents, there's no way they'd have let them do that.
Right. I don't know what they were thinking. This is what they ended up with there.
That's crazy though. Because you was like already freaking. Was the college girls hitting on you in freaking high school?
Oh no.
You was probably
Maybe, I don't
sheltered.
know.
You know, the rest of the band's
I
like,
would say to him, I still don't. I
No,
didn't
he
know
was the
what
guy
to do.
that was worried about playing his instrument, not all the extracurricular
Right.
bullshit.
I was a serious musician.
Right.
we'll go with that.
Serious musician.
That is wild though, man. I never knew it was going that early back then.
Yeah.
I didn't, that's that dude, that nobody, I don't think's got that early of a
I was
story.
14. I was 14 whenever I started playing at starting.
Wow, man. That's about the time I started seriously trying to learn to play guitar. So I was like, I don't know, 16, 17 before we even started playing in house parties.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, but it was, of course, I would go there, and you had the regulars there. There was a lady named Patsy there. I remember she was a sweetheart, and they would kind of, they'd take care of me and make sure everything was okay. And there's a guy named Jim there. I remember he wore a cowboy hat, and there's another lady named Ginger, and she had a daughter my age named Angie, and so we became, friends. Like we would go hang out at their house during the day and became friends with their family. They're there for a short time and everything. So, that's some memories back. Just wonder what everybody's doing now or what's happened. I think Ginger passed away years ago, but it's just, you're the kid in the bar, and you got these, they just kind of want to make sure you're okay. They're not all just weird people in bars. They're kind of very motherly.
Now, was I've heard, am I right about Rick being a bartender there at that time, around that time?
He was a manager.
Okay.
I think he probably, I'm sure he started there as a bartender. I don't know exactly, but yeah, he was a manager there up until I guess Rick's probably opened in 94 maybe or something. He might have broke out on his own and went 94, 95. But yeah, that's from 90 to till that time. He was a manager there. And we met him, and it was Rick. I remember there was Rick. There's a bartender named Tammy, who I see still the weirdest times. And then one of our friends I still talk to named Andy. And I can't remember who else was there, but remember Jay Bird was coming. You remember Jay Bird, sound guy from Starkville?
Yeah,
I do.
Remember Jay Bird? He's passed away now, but he was one of the earliest people I met there whenever I was just a kid. And these people, he's hilarious. He was hilarious anyway. And these people were just tripping me out with their crazy wit and just talking and, just tripping me out, just blowing my little innocent mind. They're being sick. I'm just trying to play music. I'm trying to be serious about my keyboard.
I'm sure at that age, I'm sure. Yeah, right. But misbehaving started 90, correct?
Right. 90. It might have kind of, I always thought it was 89, but I mean, I guess it's probably 90 is kind of officially when it started, when we finally got the pieces together to do it and started playing some shows, which we rehearsed for a good long while before we played a show. And then after that one show, we rehearsed for, we're talking about months. And because we just weren't ready, even by the time we played our first show, we only had 10 songs in the list. And we played them, and we played New Albany Country Club for, I think it was a benefit for somebody. It wasn't a golf tournament. We weren't golf tournament material yet. We were benefit material at this point. And we did the 10 songs, did the set. I guess took a break, and then we did them all again. Played them all over again, and nobody minded, Everybody just wanted to hear some music and dance and drink and have a good time.
So, but it was all country at that during that time?
Yeah, it was all country and southern rock. We did some Leonard Skinner, like we would do. Three Steps has always been Misbehaving's big ending song finale, and a lot of it, like we'd kick off with All My Rowdy Friends, and we still pretty much kind of do that now, and which is the perfect kickoff song, by the way. Dukes of Country. You can't beat All My Rowdy Friends as a kickoff song.
Oh, you really can't.
You can't.
Or an ender.
But and but yeah, it was pretty much. I mean, we did All My Rowdy Friends. We did what's that Clint Black song? Like one of his first
Killing
hits.
Time.
Killing Time.
No, it was Walking Away. You remember that song? Walking Away.
Yeah.
I saw a side of you. I knew I was there all along. Remember that one? And what else?
Well, okay, but my question is, who was running this outfit? Because with you guys being, Kiss and wanting to do all of that, how in the hell did it change and want to go country? There must have been somebody else that was older, maybe saying we need to do this.
It was Chad. Chad basically, he had gotten, was going into campus country. He was about to be in camp,
okay.
Camp.
Yeah.
So in that group, they learned about 30 songs a month, and she would send home the practice cassettes with each musician, and she would send home all the charts, which that's where we learned the Nashville number system and everything. And so we would pick the songs that we would like for a band, us as a band to learn. We just pick the best ones, and that's what we would learn as a band. And then, of course, some of the other guys would bring in stuff like Three Steps, or we would do South Is Going to Do It Again. We do a lot of that good stuff. A lot of stuff y'all play. It's the good stuff, man. I love it. And
tell me there wasn't no Earl Thomas Conley in there.
No, but we had some Vern Gosden.
Hey,
with the Chisel and Stomp.
There you go.
We didn't do no Brotherly Love though. We didn't do that.
When you pulled that out on me that night, about that, I was like, oh my God. I don't know if I can remember. I love Earl Thomas Conley. I do.
Yeah.
But most of that stuff is not necessarily bar material, Every once in a blue moon, it's going to put everybody to sleep, But I love it.
Yeah, these days, you got to keep them up. They're too distracted.
You're right.
You can't rose-colored glasses them to death. But sometimes you'll be surprised. Sometimes it might bring the house down. You never know. These people in these bars are unpredictable.
You hit the nail on the head though about being distracted. I mean, they're absolutely just, and we say it every podcast.
And it's not by the girl in the blue jean shorts either. It's
no.
They're ordering something off of Wish.com or something.
iPad off of Wish.
Yeah. But I guess the influence for Misbehaving was I guess it comes down to probably campus country, because
gotcha.
That group, they would come to my dad. He would bring them to his high school, to the school where he was principal at. Well, K through 12 actually, but and they would do a show there, and school would get to be let out for an hour or two, and everybody get to watch this little campus country concert. So, I was in that audience too, going, okay, that's cool. I mean, like, I can go play some instrument with somebody, and it don't have to be a marching band. And get my college paid for it. That's really neat. So,
heck yeah.
But that's probably where they influenced it. And that time period too. You had Alan Jackson. Oh yeah, Here in the Real World. That was a big Misbehaving set song too. Here in the Real World, Wanted.
That's what I was about to say. That time period, man, country was hot. Early 90s.
89, Garth Brooks.
Garth. I was heavy in the country back at that point before I even thought about listening.
Sometimes late at night. What's that song? Tomorrow Never Comes.
If Tomorrow Never Comes, yeah.
Yeah.
Did y'all have the two-tone shirts, button ups?
We had bolo ties,
flames on the shirts.
Probably had a rope belt or two. I went. So I had the mullets going.
I saw some pictures from that, you and Chad, man, those were priceless.
I'll try and find some stuff, and maybe, I don't know, might keep it hidden. But I go back and think about those days, and just think about the equipment we were trying to piece together to do a gig. And I'm like, how did we ever get to the point where we could even go kick off the show 1, 2, 3, 4, and everybody's stuff is working because we're connecting. We'd have 5 PA boards connected together to try and get enough channels, and then we'd have I don't know what kind of microphones we were using. I didn't know anything about any of that stuff, and we had a couple of people that were helping us, and they didn't really know a lot about them, and they knew way more than I did. But it blows my mind sometimes to think, how did we even pull a show off? How did we even get?
How did they hear everything? Yeah, how come something didn't blow up? But you know what?
We're driving down the road in a pickup truck, and a PV powered mixer just goes flying out to the gig. Just pull over and go get it to the gig, and somehow it still works because it's PV.
Yeah, and built like a tank.
So it's just, how did this stuff? Like, how do we ever pull this off? And sometimes we barely did. But I guess you got the good Lord looking out for you whenever you're young and innocent like that. Whenever you can't really do the right decisions for yourself, you got a little higher power helping you through.
Mm-hmm. I also think things were obviously made better back then too.
Yeah.
I mean, equipment was just, and now you go buy the latest, greatest, whatever, and it's, however much, $2 or $3 grand, whatever. We've talked about it with these lights and stuff, and you're going to be lucky. I mean, a couple of years, and then you're going to have to start having issues.
They're fancy, but not nearly as rugged.
You get a piece of digital equipment, and one little component goes bad, and it screws up the whole thing.
Crash.
Back in the day, if you had like a fader on a board go bad, you just skip that channel, go to the next channel.
Yeah.
So,
or you could get just that channel, redone, or whatever.
Just spray something in it.
Now everything's built to throw away, man. You get a couple of years, whatever.
But man, it's so much lighter. It's so much easier, really.
Yeah, everything was like cheaper. Tanks back then.
Things are cheap. Like kids today could go start a band and have a great PA and light show for very cheap, and it sound good. And you ain't got to worry about blowing breakers left and right.
Yeah, you got
or
that
breaking
right.
your back.
How many I know we're kind of skipping around, but how many par cans at one time did you guys have on a stage? The most at one time?
We never
par
had
64s.
We never had enough.
Could you tan on the stage is the question.
Yes. We would have what did we have? We had I think at one time we had about 32, probably.
And it's already buying tanning packages at the Spunk Monkey show.
It's already burning up hot summertime in a club, and you got all these.
And then you're blowing the fog machine on. You're blowing the fog machine on you. That's not that ain't a breath of fresh air. And so like we would have like 32 cans. We'd be like, all right, now maybe somebody will book us. And I'd go and I call Jeff from US. Somebody be we got 32 cans now. That's not near enough. You're gonna need at least 64. All right, I'm gonna get some more cans, Jeff. I'll call you back. So it's never enough. You always want to do more. We've always been like that. If we ever made any money, we put it right back into the show. Yeah. Unless we were fixing something, which is pretty much probably a vehicle. But it's still that way now. It's like I like it because it entertains me. I want to turn around and be like, okay, stage looks cool.
Mm.
You know, that's just me.
Yep. I've
It
always been the
helps.
same way.
If I like it, somebody else is gonna like it.
I
Hopefully,
remember
unless
years
it's that person in the front row, like, you're blinding me.
can't see you even playing. I remember years ago with Trademark, we had so many damn lights and par cans. Like we'd run up on these small stages, and we had these big trusses for the lights and stuff.
Yeah.
So if the stage wasn't big enough, we just run the lights on out into the club,
Yeah.
and just just bring it all. It didn't matter.
Yeah. You squeeze it. I remember going to see US play this frack gig at Ole Miss. I don't know what Sigma Chi House maybe, but they had to go inside because of weather. And it was a small room. And man, them boys brought every piece of gear they had in there, every piece of PA, every bit. And I walked down, it's like the dance floor went from this big to like this big. Yeah, but it looked great, sounded great. And, they've always done it big and bright.
Heck yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely.
I remember one time we were coming through the front door of a club and we couldn't make a turn because of how long the truss was. The truss was 10 foot or whatever, that middle piece. And we couldn't make the turns. We were like, that's okay. There's a window by the stage. And we come through the window with the truss.
Right onto the stage.
We had people inside and outside bringing it in, man.
Yeah. Hey, do what you got to do, man. It's like,
and the whole staff's over there, like looking from the kitchen, looking over there, like, look at what they're doing. They're coming in the window.
I wonder if they play instruments.
Coming in the window wearing bringing shit.
People expect a show. By God, they're gonna get one.
Does the roof open up on this place by chance?
Look, we can just cut it in half. We can. I got a buddy back home that can weld it back next week. We'll just do that.
We got a show to put on tonight.
Whatever it takes.
All right. So back on track. Yeah. All right. So how big?
Was tangent number one right
there. How big did you guys, how popular did you get from 90 to 96 before you really got going, with the Spunk Monkeys? I'm trying to figure out how a misbehaving done right there, and how far did you go out with that? How far did you play and all that?
I mean, we did a lot of private parties. We would do Mulligans a lot in Starkville, and we would do classics in Columbus.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Partners in Grenada. And
okay, so you guys are doing great. You guys were doing partners back then. Was it did Danny own it back then?
Yeah, Danny Arbuck. Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
His son was a baby. And
oh, Jesse.
And I bet that place was packed. I mean, I bet that was an awesome room.
It was in the thick of it. It was in the thick of it all right there. So it was like you had all these country clubs around the Southeast in the early 90s and stuff. And we would play, we'd also play, one of our favorite places ended up being the Marina Cantina in Jackson. And we loved it because it was in the same parking lot as the dock.
Oh, so wow. I don't think I've heard of it.
Did you ever hear the Millennium or anything? It was across. The dock was there, and then right across the parking lot was, shared. I think you could probably pay one cover charge and get in both places, maybe. But we liked that because we were the late night band there. Like the bands at the dock would finish, and then they would come over and watch us. And we're like, who's playing like 285s playing over there tonight? They're going to come over and watch us. Or Love Grin would be playing, our US would be playing, and then that's whenever I became friends with those guys. In US is they would come over and watch me play, and then I would go over there and sit in with them. I play Sweet Home Alabama on the keyboard or something, and but that was always a fun place to play because just you get to see other bands. That was we would play Friday and Saturday nights, and those bands would play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the dock. So we'd go down a night early and watch the bands and the rock bands, and then stay a day late and watch them on that Sunday too. And so, the whole time just like making mental notes of, these guys are, all these bands are levels above us, and what can we do that they're doing that will help us level up. Always about leveling up. And so we would, I'm a dork. I would go and study the bands, and not rip them off or anything, but I'd
learn from them.
Yeah, I'd learn, and learn their. Main thing I learned from most of all those bands, like the Pygmies in the U.S., is 17th Floor is like just their work ethic and how they how you don't turn much down. You should always, if there's a chance that your band can go play somewhere, don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the situation. Don't worry about is somebody calling you to come play, go play. Figure out a way to do it. If at all possible, go do it. And I just learned that they worked hard. It was a big shows, big sound systems. It was that's what we ended up growing up wanting to do.
Since you're talking about bands that made a splash with you, and I'm gonna throw out a couple of names, but number one, the Michael brothers, Young Guns.
Oh man, just amazing talent, amazing people. That band, you go and you form a band, like Small Monkeys, Misbehaving, whatever, and you're like, I'm gonna go make it big. I'm gonna go be somebody. I'm gonna be get on the radio. We're gonna get a record deal. We're gonna do all this, and then you go see a band like this. It's all brothers, all good looking, top of the talent. Got great songs written, playing showcases, doing all this stuff, and just killing it. I mean, my brother and I, we went to a couple of their showcases, and we're like, that's it. They just got a deal. They just got a deal, and it never happened. It's just heartbreaking. And then you're like, what am I doing? What if that's not good enough? Why do I think what I'm doing is good enough? But I mean, you never know. It's always it takes the right person to see it. But I just got I want to go take those people and like knock them on the head. Go, what's wrong? Why can't you turn this into a product? Why can't you do this? But the Michaels brothers, they've always just
okay. It was Michaels plural.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hell, now I'm confused. I don't know. But
Michaels, they were brothers in this band.
Yeah. Right. It's the Young Guns.
Yeah.
They ended up being called the Guns, and but we're all like brothers with each other, and of course Dale still plays he plays bass with the Spunk Monkeys sometimes whenever Mark can't play, and we would go and watch bands like the Young Guns, or we would go watch bands like Tony Bain's band, called Living Proof. They would play a place called the Midnight Rodeo, and of course it was Tony Bain and guitar hero Johnny Wigington, who's from here in Tupelo, Randy Jumper and Gary Shaw on drums, and Tommy Horton and Michael Fowler on bass. We'd go watch them, and it's BYOB. So me and Jody, our drummer, we would walk in and have our cooler in each hand. We'd be like, we're here. We got till 3 a.m. to watch this band. We'd go get right up at the front, set our cooler there, and we would sit on our cooler and just watch them play, man, just playing their tails off. And just, that would have been right whenever Jody got in the band with us. And so we would just go hang out and watch these other bands play. And Tupelo is really, it's great to be living in Tupelo because there's a lot of really good musicians here that's had a major impact on all of us. Just not only, most of the time whenever I say impact, it's not much to do with talent, which, if it's always to do with them as a person and as people, and like them coming, people who will like take the time to come talk to some, awkward 18-year-old kid down here that's wanting to do what they're doing, people who always would take their time to do that with me. It's like, those are the people that like really influenced me and our band as a whole. It's always, it's people who can play, don't take the time to sit down and talk to a kid or something, they go eat a dick. But
yeah,
really,
yeah,
it's always the influence, because it don't matter how good you are. There's lots of people out there that can wax you on your instrument.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
there's
just how
always somebody bigger.
how professional are you? How well do you treat people? How easy are you to get along with? And how hard do you work?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's the ones I seen had the staying power and stayed around.
Yeah.
There's always a lot more talented people, but a lot of times the work ethic just keeps them out,
It does every time. It's a lot of bands, and I don't blame them at all, because this what we do and what y'all do and what a lot of the guys that have been doing it a while. It's not for everybody at all. It's you sacrifice a lot. You miss out on anything that's normal, and people, a lot of musicians still want to play, and so they'll just take house gigs, which I don't even think house gigs really hardly exist anymore, except maybe in tourist towns. But used to, there were big clubs all over, VFWs or Legions, and there'd just be house bands, and they just wanted to go play their gig and then go back home. Can totally understand that.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's
Then a lot of them had went and toured before they fell into that too. So a lot of bands in Tupelo. There was another band called the Juby Johns. Now they were the big deal around here. They toured all the way up to Fairbanks, Alaska. Like, drove it.
I remember that
Wow.
name, but I didn't realize they was getting out that far.
That was Robert Montgomery, and a lot of people ended up being in that band. Mac McIntyre, Terry Barnes was in it. Dale Michael was in it, and a lot of people were in it. But there's been some really, really good musicians coming out of Tupelo that we've gotten to know and be friends with. Tony Bain. I'm trying to mention a bunch of people because I don't want to leave them out.
Well, he ended up on the morning show, didn't he? Tony Bain.
Yeah, well, that's his parents. Buddy and Kay were his.
That's
parents.
Right, Bain. That's right. Yeah.
Of course, you had Tony Bain had a band called Freeway. They were out of Columbus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't get to see them as much as I would like to, because they were in Columbus mainly. I think they would play the 45 Club a lot.
That's it. Yeah, that was their.
Remember that?
Yeah, that was their zoo. that was the 45 Club.
Tony's sister Maria Bain, she had a band called Bizarre, and they toured a lot. And I would get to see them at a place called Fraser's in Oxford. Well, not really Oxford. It's more between Oxford and Holly Springs. The big night at Fraser's was Sunday nights, and you could go in there and pay $3 cover charge and drink all the free draft beers that you could drink.
Wow.
So that got me in trouble a lot.
I would say so.
Dude, I'm shocked that you remember all this.
Oh, that's what I lived for it. That was like, that's why like people like name this actress, that actress, or this TV show. I didn't care about any of that. I still don't. I want to know who the musicians are and what songs they're playing, where they're playing at, and who the club owner is. That's just kind of that was me, still is. And yeah, all those guys. I mean, there was so many. There's so many good musicians here in Tupelo that they would give us advice and stuff, and like they And you know that we were like trying to get out of town. And whenever we'd go out of town, they'd call us up, man, how did it go? How'd the shows go and stuff? You know, it's real supportive. Wanting us to bring back a good grade, you know, and they represent Tupelo. So we always tried.
Man, that's priceless to have that, you know, kind of a network and people that gave a shit instead of being, you know, cutthroat or intimidated by it.
Right. You can't. I mean, there's so many people, you know, that would. Hold on, baby girl, cheer. You can be on camera. Hold on, and but then you would have people help us out with equipment. Like, I mean, I can't say enough good things about Billy Armstrong. He runs Magic Sound Company, and of course he was a bass player in a band called Magic in the 80s and 90s, and you know they played around all the time to pack clubs and stuff too. But he got into the production. Y'all know Billy.
And, been knowing Billy a long time.
But he would, you know, help us out, sell us some good gear or something, or let us rent something, or let us borrow something even, and kind of he would show me how to work it. And you know, that's where I learned how to do all of my sound work and everything from. So yeah, just all, it's like you said, a network of people that help all the parts move correctly. So that's what you have to have in this business. You know, you have to have your guy who can fix your van at the last minute whenever it won't crank in your driveway and you're trying to get to Greenville or somewhere. And you know, you have to have all these. It's not just playing your music.
Right.
That's about. Maybe you'll get lucky and be able to play by the end of the night. You know, let's get to the gig first.
Whole lot of people responsible for
and have some working equipment.
Yeah.
And then we can play. Then the fun begins. You don't get paid. You don't get paid to play. You're a moving company that plays music on the side.
Yeah, the play-in's for free.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's not even the setting up or the tearing down. It's just everything before. And you know,
sure.
Yeah.
I hate tearing down. I don't mind setting up. Tearing down, I'm like, just play the show. I'm like, God, I wish we had some roadies right now.
Yeah. Ready to go to bed.
I still have to load it up myself though, probably. But
what made what? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was rambling. Go ahead.
What made y'all go from the misbehaving to Spunk Monkeys? What made that all? What happened there to make that transition happen? And it was like, hey, let's start a Kiss concert here. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of a mixture of things, I think, but mainly we were all, of course, after, you know, misbehaving, after the original guys left, Mike Willard and Thomas Massengill, after they left, we got Jody Lindsay and Jerry Chadwick in the band. And we still continued the misbehaving thing, doing country. Well, we were all four of us, like deep down, like we wanted to rock, you know, that, and country was kind of phasing out. The clubs were kind of, you know, maybe like Classics was probably turning into a dance club, or the Marina Cantina quit having bands, or Partners was in a lull, and all these other clubs were opening up, like Studio 55 or CJ's in Columbus. And we always wanted to play Rick's, you know, because Mulligan's was on its way down, and we were like, and there was a place in Tupelo called SOB, and that was probably kind of the kicker, was the SOB thing, because they would not hire us. It was like well, we want to come in, like, do a rock show. They're like, well, you're misbehaving. You're a country band. You're not a rock band. You can't do that. So we just decided to change it. We know on the way to a gig, we were talking about it. We're on the way to Fraser's, which is the club in between Oxford and Holly Springs. On our way to that gig, we were like, well, we just need to change our name. It's pretty much like, well, I want to change it to. And Jetty said, what about Spunk Monkeys? I was like, okay. that's about all the
it was
thought
that
went
simple.
into it.
That simple for the name.
We didn't know. Well, we thought it was going to be a year or two. We didn't know it was going to be 20 something years.
Yeah.
You know, you
How
just
did he
don't
come up with
think
that?
about
That's what I was wondering.
Where did
is
that
the
come from?
Process.
From the mind of Jody Lindsay. I don't know. It's his fault.
It's pretty damn cool though, man, for real.
Well, it was weird at first because, we got up on stage. It was like, okay, we're changing our name now. Our new name is no longer Misbehaving. Our new name is Spunk Monkeys. Since the night became deathly quiet.
Well, all the gears turning.
What is a
spunk monkey?
What is that? And they're asking the same
It's a
question.
badass man from Tupelo, Mississippi.
And so
what's your mascot look like?
Yeah, I know you don't want to know, but
monkey with a bat.
But so yeah, we changed it, and then they would book us at SOB and a couple of these other places. So we were able to get in and eventually start changing the set list. And Chad started concentrating more on lead guitar, and I started playing more rhythm guitar and kind of left the keyboards to the side because most of the stuff we were doing back then, we were doing like a lot of Kiss, but we were doing a lot of Driving and Crying. We did a lot of Brother Kane. We did a lot of we weren't doing like the 80s thing that we kind of started becoming known for back then. We were just doing kind of, I guess, the mid 90s kind of stuff, like but then we do like Blister in the Sun, you know, some of this stuff that we were pretty much pulling off a bigger band set lists. Should I stay or should I go? Things like that. And but you know, we kind of just started reinventing ourselves like that and add more of a show aspect to it. We bought more lights. That's when the light addiction started, I think. So get more lights and more low end, and you know, started spending money on on equipment. And, you know, started a band fund, and which would pay for motels and more equipment and gas and alternators, and, you know, lights,
Power 6
Coors Light. Yeah. And so we always did a band fund, and that's always has stuck from day one. We've still got it going. It's always an equal cut. And so young bands out there, equal cut, band fund. If you only made $60 a piece a night, be happy. And but yeah, we just kind of changed it on a whim there on the way to the gig, and we just stuck with it, went with it. We got a new picture made, had Chad jumping off a drum riser through some pyro stuff, and you know, it kind of became a more of an exciting kind of, you know, high energy band. And that's what we still try to do that now, but it's a little slower now.
So tell us about that, about the pyro thing, because so you really started experimenting a lot, and there's I hear some stories from the zoo on some pyro stuff, and I know Jerry's amp caught on fire. Was that pyro, or was that when Jerry would blow the fire?
Well, we would do let's see, first pyro we had, we just had somebody weld a piece of pipe onto a metal base, and that was our first pyro. You know, shrapnel, who cares about shrapnel at this point? We've got gunpowder and duct tape. So we fill it full of, we're at the practice room, we're going to try this thing out. And I'm not going to tell you how we ignited it, because, you know, I want to get sued. But so anyway, we did it, and we filled it full of gunpowder and put like 10 layers of duct tape over this thing, and was like, okay, y'all ready? We're standing 10, 15 feet away from it. We're just trying.
Was
We're just
this
trying it out.
inside the band room or outside?
We don't know what we're doing now. We were outside.
Okay.
We were outside our practice room at
Thank
Myrtle.
God.
It's about 11 at night, and we've probably had a couple of, we're my dad's the principal, and we're on school grounds. And we've probably been having a little bit of fun, and we're like, let's try some of that Pyro stuff. So we set it off, and of course it don't go off right whenever we click the on button on the power strip. And we're like, oh man, then out of nowhere, boom, and it's like, it's like a sonic boom. It breaks the airwaves open. We're like, everybody's just like, whoa, man, what was that? And then my dad walks out, and he's in his underwear. What the hell you boys doing out here? And man, the next day, everybody all over town was like, because my uncle owned the store, Nolan's Grocery in Myrtle, and they were the focus group that drinks coffee in the morning. They were all there talking about, what was that sound last night? My dad's like, that's my boys, my Kiss fanatic sons blowing off fireworks.
Just a little pyro, no big deal.
Yeah, that was the first one, but we got that under control, and got some more professional equipment, I guess, from Nashville, and then we used to blow stuff up. I mean, we'd blow off 6 or 8 shots every show, and didn't really think anything about it, and until I came home from the zoo one night and I saw the great white thing where it killed all those people, and then we never set anything off again.
Yeah,
it was just like, it's over. That fun while it lasted. Glad nobody got hurt.
Yeah,
and it was a safe thing. Even it was, but it just takes one thing to mess up.
Sure.
And that's how I saw it. It's like, it just ain't worth it.
And
So
it'll just take and catch real quick, and ain't nothing you can do.
But yeah, Jerry, in the midst of, I don't know, we were a Kiss tribute band at one time too, called Dynasty, and we played a few cool little shows with that, and but so Jerry had learned how to blow flames, and he was really good at it. And can y'all hear that?
Was that a frog? Huh.
Yeah. We're about to get some rain, but so we're playing. Okay, Spunk Monkeys have been created at this point, and we're about to debut our big rock and roll show at the zoo in Tupelo, in front of all of our Tupelo musical heroes and everything. All the old guys are there to watch us. They're like, and we're like coming out there, we're rock, we're playing, we're jamming. We end, I don't know what song we ended with, but I look around there, and Jerry has his, whatever he was using. I guess it was Everclear at the time. And he just goes,
ooh.
And he's got a mouthful of something. Now, this ceiling is about 10 feet tall. And Chad's in the center. I'm over to one side. And Jerry gets down like on one knee with this flame in front of him, blows it. It hits the ceiling and goes like 10 feet, hits the ceiling, then comes back about 10 feet, rolling along the ceiling, and it starts dripping on Chad's pants. And of course, in 1996, Chad is wearing just cut up jeans, so he has all these frazzles and stuff, and just all those frazzles just start catching on fire. And Chad's just looking at it, going, "What am I doing? What am I doing?" Like, he's on fire. Well, so Chad's on fire. Jerry's blown the biggest flame anybody's ever seen. All the musicians in the audience were just eyes like this going. And then, of course, the show has to go on. The next song of the set is Basket Case by Green Day. And Chad is the one who fronts this song. he puts his guitar down to sing it, and the whole time he's singing it, he is going across the stage, just slapping his knee back and forth. And Jody's back there on the drums, not knowing, he don't know what's going on. He's just like, "What are you doing? Get serious. Everybody's watching us. It's our first ride. What are you doing running across the stage acting a fool like that?" But Chad's on fire. Like, he's trying to put his fire out. He sings the fastest version of Basket Case I've ever heard in my life. I think he cut off the second version. And it is. And goes down to the side of the stage, and man, all these people are there, and we're like, poor, like he's got it out by then. Everybody got a kick out of it. Dale Michaels was there, and he was like, "Man, I've seen Gene Simmons live 5 times, and you just blew a flame way bigger than he could ever blow." And so that was we got a kick out of that. That was one of those mishaps, man, that you just turn into like one of the greatest moments of your life if you're not Chad.
If you're not the guy on fire.
If you're not the guy on fire, yeah. But
when he was saying that, all I was hearing
was our big rock and roll debut for our Tupelo musical heroes right there. So
But you made sure they wasn't going to forget it. That's damn sure.
They still haven't. Man, it was a good time. But we would blow stuff up a lot. One of our promo pictures had the us with flames coming up from the drum riser, and Chad and Jerry jumping off of it. Chad's about 10 feet up in the air, and I'm down on the ground. We got bubbles going everywhere and stuff. And, then that's what we use for promo that's actually what got the attention of, I think it was probably Crescent Moon at the time, or all of them. And they kind of started throwing us some gigs because of that picture. And
I remember that. I've seen that picture a bunch of times.
Yeah, it was, it's like just cheesy enough.
What?
Of course, there's no guitar cables plugged into any of the guitars. We didn't have wirelesses at the time. Who's looking?
Right.
But
all I could hear when he said, "I've been to 5 Kiss concerts," and all I could hear, what was that saying? I've been to 5 Hall
3 World
Collins.
Fairs.
About the same thing. But oh man, everybody got a kick out of that. They still do.
But now,
Dude, and we're really a one of a kind type of. But why do we do this stuff? What are we thinking?
putting ourselves through hell.
Well, got like $200.
It's the torture is the reason we do it.
Yeah. Shock value, I guess. I don't know. One day, you can pull it off once. I remember we played a Halloween. We were doing a Kiss show, and we played a Halloween party in North Carolina, and there was another Gene Simmons in the audience in front of our Gene Simmons, and like our Gene Simmons blew his flame, and like some of the flame hit the Gene Simmons in the audience. That Gene Simmons was on fire. So it's like, and I remember the guy looked down at it. He's a hardcore Kiss fan. He looked down and went, "Yes, I'm on fire."
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nowadays, that guy would have took a selfie with himself. Just right with the fire on his boots. Yeah.
Check it out.
It would be a good thing. And oh man, we had a few pyro things where of course we didn't tell the club we were going to set any off, and we'd get blessed out. We'd either get blessed out or they come up and go, "Man, that was awesome."
So, but Jerry's amp got caught on fire one time, right?
That was probably just from his badass bass playing, though. I don't know. I don't know. Did Chad tell you something about that? I can't remember.
He said that Jerry's.
It might have been. Had a couple of things catch on fire, including our van while we were going down the road.
Hey.
But
Oh, please tell more.
Oh God. This is my worst road story, I guess, as far as like, I mean, it makes for a good story, but at the time it sucked. But we're going down the road to Monroe, Louisiana. This is Spunk Monkeys. This was about 90, 97, 98. It was me, Jerry, Jody, and Chad, and our friend Joey Bird was running sound for us. And so he was with us too. We were in the Suburban pulling a heavy trailer. And we're going down the road. I guess we're between Jackson and Monroe, probably around Shreveport. And somebody pulls up beside us. You on fire? It's like, yeah, we know it's smoking. That's normal. That's fine. We're just, we're like, you're on fire. We're like, what do you mean? I think Jerry here. I don't know if I was driving or Jerry, but look in the rear view and they see flames coming up, and we're like, oh crap! We pull over. Suburban is toast. It's toast. We're done, and we get the fire out, whatever. But we're sitting there with a trailer, and no cell phones. It's 97, and the guy ends up giving Chad a ride, and it just so happened the next exit, which was only like a mile down the road, it was a U-Haul place or a rider place. Might have been a rider place. And all they had was a 24-foot truck. So he drops Chad off. Chad gets the 24 truck, comes back. We leave the Suburban on the side of the road, unhook the trailer, hook it to the truck, haul ass to Monroe, Louisiana. And we get there, and of course it's raining in Monroe, Louisiana, and the only way to load in is up the front, which is 7 staircases.
Oh my God.
Side to side, going up to the front of the frat house. And we get there, and they've all been drinking all day. And y'all been to tried to set up at frat parties and tried to talk to somebody in charge. It's like nonsense. Like, find a spot and find a plug in and set all your stuff up and play somewhere. Hold on. So we do the gig. We just get totally wasted after the gig, hang out with all the people. We have a good little gig, and we just sleep in the lobby of this frat house. We're sleeping. We've done it a million times. Sleep. There's just draft beer all on the floor and everything. We get back up the next day. We, of course, didn't tear down. So we load out the next morning or next noon, whatever. Get everything in the trailer. Start our way back. We pull up. There's our Suburban on the other side of the road. We get it on our side of the road and proceed to.
I see where this is going.
To push the Suburban with a 24-foot box truck that's pulling a 16-foot trailer. I mean, this thing is like, well, you got 16 feet plus 24 feet. That's 40 feet. Then another 12 feet. You got 52-foot train going down the road.
Oh my God!
All the way from around Shreveport all the way into a parking spot at a mechanic shop in downtown Jackson, Mississippi.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And you got Jerry up in the driving the Suburban that's being pushed. And we would approach a cop or something, and they're just like, let off. We would bump into the Suburban and just keep on going, man. Keep on trucking. And finally we get there, man. The front of that rider 24-foot truck was just the bumper was all dented in.
Man,
not as dented in as our Suburban's bumper, but our Suburban's back door. But We got it when we took the see, Jody lived in Jackson at the time. And I don't really know how we got back to Tupelo from Jackson, because we all came down in Suburban. I can't remember that part of this. You'll have to ask Chad about that. But yeah, that was that's probably just the big crazy do anything it takes story
No
for
doubt.
us right there. I mean, I haven't really heard much anybody else do anything that's stupid before. Never.
The fact that y'all were
We did
backing off every time when you'd see a cop is ingenious.
We'd back off and ease up. And of course, we didn't have CB or nothing. It was just like everybody just kind of kept watching. There's one in the median right there. Back off. They had to do it about twice, I think.
Because that is a long stretch of not a whole lot of stuff. I mean, you're gonna go through Vicksburg and maybe a couple other little small exits and stuff, but that's genius.
I mean, what else are we gonna do? I mean, we pondered,
hooking
somehow
it to the back of the trailer,
hooking the trailer to the Suburban and pulling the Suburban with the. It was like, I don't know. It's like we don't really have the equipment to do it. We have this chain here. Let's just hook his chain. And, so that would have nearly been what happened. But we went the safer route and just pushed it.
God, dude, that's unbelievable that y'all made it that far doing that. Something else didn't get tore up at the back and the front of that. Gosh, the back of that Suburban and the front of that U-Haul. Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh man, it was a good one. That was I have that one, and I have another one that involves me and Sean. That was this is a pretty crazy one too, if y'all want to hear it.
Bring it on.
This is the broke down portion of the evening, I guess, breaking down, which should be a large portion of every band's history. If you haven't broken down, if you don't set out on the road just to break down, eventually you're going to, then you're not in a band. Sorry, but this was only 2 or 3 years ago. Sean and I were headed to Shuckers a night early to get set up in Jackson. We were leaving and we were going down Highway 25 between Starkville and Jackson. Well, the tire comes off of the trailer, and it broke the studs off of the, where the tire slides onto the studs and you put your nuts on. It broke the studs off of the wheel, and we're like, well, we're just sitting out there. We're dumbfounded. I don't know nothing about getting new studs or how to do any of that. This is a new one for me. I know a lot.
It's not an easy roadside fix there.
No. It's like we don't have the tools or the studs, and plus we don't know where we are. Really, we don't know. We're on Google looking. And well, about that time, this is a shout back to an earlier release mentioned. About that time, I get this phone call, and it's Matt Young, Release's guitar player from my very first band. I haven't seen him in 20 years. And he's like, "Hey, are y'all on the side of 25? I'm like, yeah, why? He's like, I just passed you. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, well, let me turn back around there. And he turns around, comes back to us. He's delivering cars to Jackson from I guess New Albany or Tupelo. He's a truck. He drives trucks. He's always done that his whole life. But he's driving a car hauler. Can y'all see where this is going?
Yeah, I think so.
He's driving a car hauler. He's got, I think, 3 cars on it. He's got to get them to Jackson. I'm like, so he pulls up. He's like, where y'all going? I'm like, supposed to be at Shuckers in Jackson tonight. And he's like, well, this is kind of crazy, but we can try it. He takes all the cars off and puts them on the bottom deck of the car hauler lowers it down as low as it can go. He's like, all right, you ready? I was like, I guess. I get the driver's seat of the van. Again, we got a van and a 16-foot trailer. All of our equipment's in it. And no tire on the back of the trailer. You know, we got a tire missing. And I just floor it. And I hit the top of that car hauler and climb all the way on top of it. Van and trailer loaded. Pull it on top, man. On top. Yes. And pull it on top. And he's like, all right, let's go. We get in the truck with him, and we go to the load-in door at Shuckers, and he lowers it back down. And I grind my way. We're like, you know, the wheel luckily was kind of levitating at the angle. Drop it at the load-in door.
Oh,
load in and do a gig.
Man.
Insane, man.
Well, how'd y'all end up getting the studs fixed?
I was like, yeah. Oh, we didn't. We just left the trailer at Shuckers. Bought a new one. We bought a new one. But then I got a phone call, and we just left it in the little parking over there, the little grassy area by Shuckers. I got a phone call from Matt Robertson. You know Matt? He's the sound guy at he was a sound guy at the what's that club? He's done a lot of sound in Jackson. But
seems like I've heard the name.
He was working with DeWitt DeWeese. DeWitt's the old owner
Doc.
of the dock. And they called me up and said, man, how much y'all want to sell this trailer? I was like, yes, I do. Of course I do. And so they buy the trailer off of me, and it's bye trailer.
Nice.
They got it all fixed and looking good. Worked out great.
Worked out for everybody. Yeah.
What luck that guy was coming through.
Those two stories, like in my mind and my, you know, the crazy musician's mind who was living in Blue Springs saying, two brothers going, you know what, we can go be rock stars. It ain't hard. In my mind, it's kind of just a normal way to do things. Push a suburban or pull a trailer up on top of a car hauler. Everybody does that, don't they?
Well, you obviously, whatever situation or bind you get in, you don't have to stress too bad. Like, as ridiculous as it could be, it'll work itself out.
I'll let Chad tell you the third one. There's another really, 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 really good one. It might be my favorite. This is funny.
Let me put it like this. Where was it at before I say what I'm about to say?
Where
was
it was beside a car dealership.
Okay. No. All right. Well, I've got two. Here's a little Easter egg of that first story where the guy said, "You on fire?" Chad got in there with him, and that guy ended up. He was hauling Nick Nolte's furniture to Los Angeles, California. Oh wow!
The guy who told us we were on fire. Little Easter egg.
Wow.
I mean, what are the chances? What are the chances? I mean, not that I'm a huge Nick Nolte fan, but you know.
But there's crazy people that you meet out on the road. You know, I mean, there's no telling who you're liable to run into.
Yeah, you'll run into everybody. I love it. Love it.
It's true. This is true. We've all ran into each other at different things.
I miss all that too. I miss running into other bands and stuff. I remember we were leaving Hattiesburg. I think we had played Briskies and we were headed to Jackson. And some crazy idiots pull up beside us in a big old black box truck. Like, I'm like, who are these? Why is there like four dudes sitting up in the one front seat of this guy? And they're driving by and they pass us, and then somebody just starts slinging water out the window and like hitting our van window with it and stuff, just slinging it and like flipping us off and stuff. It was US.
Yeah.
It was Jeff and the guys from US. So, those moments like that, whenever you get to run into your buddies on the road and stuff, and you know, you're all just beat from the night before and you're ready to go do it again. And, you know, those are priceless. I love it.
Yeah, I agree for sure. I got a couple of stories to throw to you and let you maybe elaborate. Tyler, Texas, falling off a stage and grabbing a cowboy's crotch mid fall.
Yeah, Chad totally did that. Chad totally did that. Yeah.
He said he's got this. He said he's got this vision seared in his mind of you falling.
Look, okay. So it was my birthday. Okay, it was my birthday. Everybody gets one on their birthday.
Sure.
Tyler, Texas has about I don't know. The stage is pretty tall, but I lost my balance, and I went off the stage and just my leg went down all the way, and I'm about to do the splits. Then my other leg came, and I just reached out for the first thing I could grab, and it was this big old cowboy's crotch. And I looked up at him. I was like, I'm so sorry. He's just standing there going. I'm like, what do I do now? I'm down here.
Buy him a drink at least.
I was like, he didn't even buy me a drink, and he got that out of it. But
You come here often.
You look familiar.
Everything's bigger in Texas, huh?
Oh Lord.
But yeah, that's the only crotch I've ever grabbed in Texas. Or anywhere.
So, but y'all ended up going to Alaska and playing at Chilcoot's, Charlie's.
Yep.
And
Coots,
yeah. So tell us about that. I mean, it was literally like you guys were down here one day, and then the right guy, booking agent, saw you, and next thing you know, you're on a plane.
We were playing this particular club, Chilcoot Charlie's in Anchorage, Alaska. They this is the early 2000s. Things were great. This was before 9/11. Everything was rocking. Everybody was doing good everywhere you went, and this club was so successful that they were able to employ people to just go on vacation basically and scout out bands like a record label would do, like A&R reps for a record label. And we were playing at Spinnaker's in Panama City Beach, and this guy was there and saw us and came up to us and asked us if we would like to play in Alaska. So we was like, that's like, what do we say? Like, they're like, yes, you go there for a month at a time and you play 5 nights a week, 4 1-hour sets a night. And we're just thinking, we're like, that's a lot, that's 4 months, and one place, 4 hour, 4 1-hour sets a night, singing rock and roll, that much. And we're like, and I even asked my dad, I was like, what should we do? And he was like, so you might never have this chance ever again. Just go. I was like, you're right. So we went, we loaded up, and they flew us up there, and we were allowed to go in there anytime we wanted to and rehearse with a full awesome PA system and light show. So we went there. A lot of times we learned a lot of new songs, a lot of the same stuff that we still play now. Like we went up there and like tried to grow as a band, try to grow our performance, and like really honed it in up there doing, you're playing 5 nights in a row for 4 weeks. You're gonna
build some chops.
You better get on the right foot and learn how to do this thing. Mm-hmm. And so that broke us in really, really good. And we made a lot of good friends up there. Chad married his first wife he met up there, and that's my awesome nephew comes in. So made a lot of friends that we still talk to. And like one of the sound guys, his name is Sal. He's the head of sound on Fremont Street in Las Vegas now. And so whenever we get a chance, whenever we get to go to Las Vegas and play, I go see him and hang out with him and stuff. And it's one of those things. It's just really fun. You know, beautiful country. And then there's the band house within stumbling distance of the club. So, I mean, we lived like Motley Crue up there, man. We party and had just time of our lives, you know, just being, you know, me and Chad and Jerry and Jody, you know, we were a tight knit family and group, and we just being up there together and just tripping out on these new people we'd meet, and, you know, just setting up late and doing funny stuff, and just, you know, just doing what you do whenever you're young. And we loved it, man. And those people up there, they wanted one thing that they wanted that was different than most of the places we were playing, was they wanted cutting edge modern rock. So that's when we started learning all the Godsmack and Linkin Park, and we learned, you know, Nickelback, it just came out. We were learning all that stuff, and oh man, Stain, it just started coming out. You know, eventually, not our first trip up there, but you know, they didn't really care to hear nothing but a good time or anything. They wanted it to be more aggressive and more heavy and Tool and things like that. So it was a really good learning experience for us. We ended up making 5 trips, I think, maybe 4 trips. So, you know, heck, I've lived 16 or 17 weeks in Alaska, which is kind of weird. Would have never thought that.
That's awesome.
But we got to go skiing there and got to go fishing. That was real cool. And just it's such a beautiful. I want to go back again so bad, you know, and just, you know, not have to. I would love to go back up there and play, but there's no way I could go up there for 4 weeks at a time. I mean, a week would even be pushing it.
If like any of the contacts you'd made for that, if they even still do that anymore.
Well, I don't really know. I don't know what's going on at that club these days. Of course, Splendid Chaos, those guys play up there they would play up there. They play up there a lot. I mean, they can tell you all about it. I think their singer now in Bad Charlotte, she's from Anchorage, Alaska. She moved down to Jackson, and she and Terry Sharp's new band, Bad Charlotte, she's from there. So I assume that's, you know, they met up there and everything. And I miss it. You know, it's just such a free time in our lives. You know, we were just young, and we'd done the road thing a little bit, not a lot, but because we were playing Destin and Panama City and all the SEC schools and everything. But, you know, to go to Alaska, that was like, that's out of left field. Mm-hmm. And then our first trip to Alaska, we played up there for a month, and we flew from there and flew back to Memphis, got on another plane and flew to Key West for a week. And we got to play. So we went from Sloppy Joe. So we went from, you know, one corner of America to, you know,
extreme other.
We went from about as northwest as you could go to about as southeast as you could go.
Yeah.
And we played there for a week, met some lifelong friends there, and we left Key West, flew back to Memphis, got in our vehicle at the time, which was a big box truck. We converted into like a bus kind of thing, and we drove to Houston, Texas, and played there for a week. And then we got to come back home, and that's the one we you know, been gone like 7 weeks in a row, or 6 weeks in a row. We were just like sitting there looking at each other, going like, "Is this? Do we really want to like?" That's hard, you know. Two of us were married, and it's like, you know, you start to assess everything. Like, is this what we want to do? You know, like, how far are we gonna get, because we're still just playing, basically cover band shows. We're still, what can we do to, how can we still keep growing, but maybe not at this rate, maybe not at this stressfully. So we
find out real quick if you want it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and then we got to where we were driving to Key West, 22-hour drive down there. And it's a 7-night gig, so you got to have nine nights. You're gone, and it's we did that a few times. We went back to Alaska a few times. Just kept kind of chugging until it was just like, you know what, man, it's like this is a lot. This is a lot to do. Let's try and kind of reassess and kind of get maybe bigger in the Southeast.
Without giving the full name, was this Scott that was booking this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Scott,
I just talked to him yesterday.
He booked, because he had booked AJ's and Dustin, and I think he had booked the Spinnaker gig, and the guys from Alaska got in touch with him. It was like, well, let me go show you a few bands around town, and he took him to Spinnaker and saw us, and that's how we got hooked up with them. I don't know if Kevin Roberts was with him or not, but I don't really care about it.
Talked to him too, just the other day. Scott and Kevin. Didn't tell him that I talked to the other one, because I don't know how that relationship is, but
yeah.
But trying to shake every limb we can, for this deal. But
they
both know about the Dukes. So
right, killer. But yeah, that's Scott was one of the earlier agents who would actually come out and see us and hang out with us and like be our friend. And we love Scott. He's in Texas now, so he's doing pretty big stuff out there, from what I understand. I'd love to go out there and do something with him someday, if we could ever get the chance. I think Texas is probably a really good market right now. It's just so dang far, man. I'm whining. But I need to make a little Spunk Monkeys Part 2 band filled with 20-year-olds, and hey, y'all go to Texas.
It's like, be careful what you wish for, because you may get it, and then when you get it, you got to realize is this what you really, really want to do?
Yeah, you're totally correct.
Edit. So,
but go ahead.
Tell us about Big Whirl. He was sound and light guy for you guys for a little while. When did he get with y'all?
Lord, how much dirt do we have on each other? Big Whirl's one of my best friends, and we've had a blast before. And he was with us for probably 10 years, maybe. I'm thinking maybe longer, maybe. Oh Lord, I'm in a band. I'll stay on the road. I can't keep up with time. Probably 10 years, ran sound and lights for us, and he was always the audience's highlight whenever we would get him on stage, because he would do Enter Sandman like right at the peak of the night, and he just would kill it, sang it just great. And so that was always a big highlight of the show. And of course he's got his own music career going now, and which is wonderful. He is in a band called Proximity Rule. He and another friend of ours who ran with us, Ashley Crawford, Crawdaddy, they have a Proximity Rule going, and they're gigging weekly. World's where he needs to be, playing music and singing. And he just beat cancer. So,
oh wow, awesome. I wasn't familiar. Awesome.
Great mission. Yep.
Great. He's playing with Eric from Full Tilt on some acoustic stuff too.
Yeah. They were playing for a while. I don't know if they're playing together right now or not. I know they did a benefit show together a couple of weeks ago, but they had a regular gig there for a while.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're doing that gig right now together.
I got you.
But
now, at what point did Sean come on board? Was that something Chad kind of said we need to get ready, because I can't do some things, or how did that go about?
Yeah, Chad dipped out after after his son Caleb was born, he was like, he just got to kind of reassess things and everything. So we're a 4-piece. It was me, Jody, Jerry, and Sean for about, I guess that was from, I don't know, 09 to, when did he get with us? These years just run together. I can't believe they do that.
Because he was playing with.
I guess we're 4-piece probably 2 years, maybe a year or two, and then Chad came back in, and we were 5-piece, and that was a good lineup. That was a really good lineup. The five when we were on fire, we started really growing as a band. Then it was, of course, Sean is one of these guys. He's like just a virtuoso at.
He's a beast.
Multiple instruments. He's just that guy. He's like the Don Felder to the Eagles guys, you know. And our bands, as far as musicality, like from Misbehaving to Spunk Monkeys, anything like, we've never just been virtuoso musicians. We've always concentrated on just having a tight package with good vocals and good harmonies and things like that. And then so to add Sean on top of all that and like sprinkle a little Miller on it, then it just kind of that took us to another level for sure. We could do these songs that just, you know, had these really just very difficult guitar parts in them, and you know, he's great at that. That's what he loves to do, and the harder the better for him.
Mm. Yeah. And because I remember him being with South of Sanity, and we was talking about it with Tim Warren about him being a lot of those bands. A lot of those bands.
It was a broken screen door with Tim, and he was just kind of he had some bands going and stuff and floating around. He played with a band out of Texas called Sound of Mind, and then he was with Reaching Jane with Tim Warren, and they moved up to Delaware and they did the East Coast thing for a while, and then they ended up moving back down here and doing some things, and Chad had to split, so I was like, all right, you're going with us, come on. I took him, but he really wasn't playing a lot whenever it worked out. It worked out good. It fit right in whenever Chad came. I remember our first gig with him was Live Bait at Orange Beach, and we pretty much, you know, taught him the show on the way down. Yeah. We had I think Big World was driving, and me, Jerry, Jody, and Sean all stopped at the store and got a box of wine. We drank a box of wine on the way down there because we're classy like that. And we taught Sean the show and kind of went over he knew the songs, but you know, the show just got the stops and how we signal each other and things like that. And then we got up on stage and played the weekend. It was great. Never played there again.
Oh,
wow. No, we did the shows. Were wonderful. They were great shows, awesome shows. And but yeah, it was we've been, of course, Sean and I play together weekly, you know, and we see each other all the time.
I don't even know if Live Bait's even still doing pans these days.
I don't know if they are or not. They last band I saw there were the Velcro Pygmies, and that was 4 years ago, maybe 5 years, and I haven't really heard of them doing anything else. DJ Bizzle, who was kind of managing Cowbells there at one time, he went to Live Bait, and I think I texted him last year asking him about it, and I don't think he's there anymore now. I think he got out of the nightclub business. So
is Cowbells even still going?
It grew up. No, not that I know of. I think they sold it.
Yeah.
I know all the equipment's gone from in there.
Wow. Because that place was
Get
rolling
sideways,
there for a while.
they can get sideways, got some of their old trussing and stuff. So
Gotcha. All right. Well, that leads us to the big deal, because I know I believe it was you, Sean, Chad, Jody, and Jerry that did that Poison and Warrant show.
oh man,
Tell us
what
about
the fuck all that was. Chad worked his magic on that one like he's always done. He the Todd Hunt, whose sister is my wife Beth's ex-college roommate. He was the general manager, I guess, of Bancorp South Arena.
Uh-huh.
And when he got out to my brother Chad and just asked him if we would be interested in opening for Warrant and Poison. Of course, Chad had to think it over. No, not at all. But Todd was wanting to know if what would be the biggest seller to either have the Bullet Boys open up, or who's y'all probably heard of the Bullet Boys, a good 80s, 90s band, and or have Spunk Monkeys open up. Well, they chose us.
The local
and
legends.
It was we put together there's like you have like 28 minutes to perform. So we slammed together pretty much a 28-minute we went over it probably 30 times and timed it. We would time it, we would chop stuff off.
And y'all wrote an original like the freaking night before Shake.
As soon as I got the phone call, I walked outside. Chad's like, go outside. I need to tell you something. I was like, oh shit, what's this? And he told me. And then Sean was my roommate at the time, and I came in and told Sean, and he was like, what? And it's like, I was like, yeah, man. I was like, we're opening, we're playing an arena concert, and we're opening for Poison and Warrant. He was like, oh my God. I was like, was both like, we probably held each other's hands and jumped in the air. I don't know. But next thing I know, Sean just grabs the guitar and starts playing this riff. I'm like, keep doing that. And I get on the piano and I start playing it. And we just whip out this 80s sounding song just, in no time. It's a song called Shake, Shake. And Sean and I wrote it. And we kind of like sent a little copy to the guys that day, like a couple hours later, and the next day we were in David Duncan's studio and we cut the song, we recorded it, mixed it right there, got a copy of it, and we emailed it to Z98.5, and that night we put it on the radio. So we had a week of them like pushing that song on the radio.
Nice.
And we ended up doing the concert, and we ended with that song, and people in the audience were singing along to it. It's such a good feeling, man. Such a great feeling. And, it's always cool to hear somebody singing Jack and Diane with you or Pour Some Sugar. Sure. But when they hear, you singing some song that you just whipped up in your living room and just, just on the impulse, that's really cool. As mindless of a song as it might be, it's still cool. It's just
it's something that you created. And
right.
What perfect timing to do it too.
Yeah, we did that show. We actually did. We did 4 originals, and we did like a medley, like a kind of a medley that. Oh, we did Detroit Rock City. We had to do some Kiss, and we did a medley of like 4 songs. Like you give Jack and Diane, you give Love a Bad Name, and Pour Some Sugar on Me. And it was great, man. It felt like we're supposed to be out there for 28 minutes, and we did. We like on, off, perfect. And it felt like we were up there for 28 seconds, man. It was like,
oh yeah,
God, I just wanted to hold that in for so long. It was just, y'all, we've all like played shows where you're in a big club or outside and everybody's singing along and it's loud and they're singing towards you and everything. But that was the first time I've ever been on stage, like played an arena show where the audience is above you and like you're in one spot, and the audience is like singing down towards you, and everybody's singing toward one spot from the floor, and it's like so loud. I couldn't imagine like what the big timers feel like whenever they're in a stadium or something, or even an arena whenever the crowd's going even crazier for them. You're like, it was definitely we got a taste of it, and it tasted great. It was good. I want to do it again. Brett Michaels, you out there?
Did you
Let's
get
hope
any?
Brett Michaels is tuning into the podcast.
What was really cool once again,
No
going back to this musicians who have always been in your corner and supported you, and everything's like that show. Jeff and Kelly from US came to it just because we were playing it. But they weren't going to come. They know Brett. They've done work with him, and they've done tour buses with him. But they Kelly loaded up his kid. I think it's Skylar with him, and they loaded it up, man, to come see us play. Man, like we got done, and they were, just a lot of bands have been like, should have been me up there. Should have been. My band's got to open up for them, but they were just like congratulating us and like just so nice, and that's a really big thing to me. And but I thought that was a highlight too. Not only getting up and them, but then seeing musical heroes coming to support you.
Nice.
I think that's really cool of them.
Seems like I'm remembering it now. Remembering that maybe you told me that when we came up there. I don't know, but it seems like I remember that, and you saying that they were there before.
So did you having a good time? It was a fun night for everybody. The whole town of Tupelo was just one of those nights where everybody was everybody's friend, and it was just a good rock and roll night in Tupelo. And we were a part of it, and the people. It's like you could just feel, there's our boys up there. They're getting to do it, man. I remember our Facebook likes just skyrocketed after that show, and we're like, okay, how can we? You always, when something like that happens, something good like that, it's like you're always like, God, don't let this go. Like, how can we capitalize on this? Like, how can we keep this
momentum
rolling? It's just hard. It's so hard to. It's like, what do you do? Like, what do you do next? But
how can we top it?
Twin Soul did a show with them too.
With Brett Michaels' band. Sure did. Yeah.
Grace
I called CJ or Charlie after. I was like, cool. It was like, yep.
Well, did you get any feedback from the guys from Warrant or Poison after the show was over with?
I don't know. I mean, they were just kind of back there concentrating on what they were needing to do. It's that was the first show I think that was the first show of the tour. Yeah, it was. So they were all, they were kind of just concentrating on doing what they needed to do. I did have a good moment with Brett Michaels though. I showed up for sound check, and I walk in backstage, and there's Brett Michaels like surrounded by people talking to him, and like just doing his thing. He's such a nice guy, and he like kind of points to the guy and goes, "Matt from Spunk Monkeys, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I'm Brett." I was like, "I know who you are." And he was just like, "Man, it's going to be an awesome night. It's going to be so awesome. I think it's going to be great. Have you seen the stage yet?" I was like, "No, I just got here. I haven't even been out there." He's like, "Let me go show it to you." So he takes me out there, and it's only me and Brett in the arena. We're standing on about the 10th row, and a couple of techs walking around here and there, but just me and Brett out in the seating area, and he's just like, I can tell he's like, this is his first show of the tour, and he's like looking at all the little lamps and everything, and look at it, and he's like, you can tell what's going on in his mind. Like, I'm gonna run here, and I'm gonna jump here, and then this is where I'm gonna do the bow, and this is all these things just going through his head. He's mentally getting prepared for it. And it's just the whole time he goes, Matt, and it's going to be an awesome night tonight. It's going to be, you're going to have a blast. It's going to be great. The crowd's here. It's going to be great. Everything's going to sound good. And I was like, I'm just like kind of, I don't fanboy a lot, but I was about to start there for a second. I mean, it's Brett Michaels,
Yeah.
Be kind of
This
surreal.
this is a guy whose album I'm sitting there rehearsing for my first show, talent show. And we're listening to Talk Dirty to me, and I'm like going, listen to how cool this stuff. It's this guy standing right here beside me, and and so finally it's like, okay, Brad, I'm gonna go get ready now. I guess I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't know what to do. Where's all the?
How's the family?
Yeah.
How's it?
Just keep following him around, going back to his dressing room with him.
Go sit the other guys will do. But they were cool, as Brett had his own bus there, and he had his own room. Hey, and he had his own room, and wow, yeah, she didn't show the audience, but showed the band. But he had his own room, and the other guys, I think CC might have had his own room, and Bobby and Ricky shared a dressing room back there. So just backstage, all it is just kind of people kind of, you kind of want to stay moving. You don't want to just sit down, and you want to keep moving. We had our own room, all of us. So you just kind of walk by each other and everything. You would walk by each other and just kind of bump, say, hey man, have a good show. And man, the lead singer of Warrant, it wasn't Janie, it was the guy who used to sing in I got that wicked sensation. Lynch Mob. That was the singer. So he's walking around with his guitar strapped on, just kind of going around doing vocal warm-ups and stuff. And like I said, they're going, this is just unreal. When we played the show, it was great. We did a pretty good job. My voice was kind of shot on it, but that's nothing new. And then we get to go to, they're like, okay, y'all need to go to your merchandise booth now. And they got our t-shirts and everything set up. Somebody took care of it for us and everything. And it's us and Warren sitting beside each other while Poison is starting their set and everything. We're signing autographs right beside Warren. And they're like, we're kind of cutting up with them and getting our pictures made with people. We get our pictures made with Warren. It was just, I was like, man, I wish every night could be like this.
No doubt. Yeah,
man.
So thankful for it. And it was at a time in my life whenever things weren't going real good. And so that kind of, that was kind of one of the boosters, live to fight another day.
Yeah.
So
no doubt.
Came at a good time.
That's awesome, man. That is awesome. I remember seeing the pictures and video and stuff, and we were definitely living vicariously through you guys then. And same way with Charlie and them. When they opened up for the Brett Michaels band, we're living vicariously through them too. And
I mean, who else would you get besides Twin Soul? They got it. They got it going on. I love those guys, man.
I didn't know it till we talked to Charlie that he used to be in that tribute band, and
always in tribute band for a little while.
Oh, did he? I didn't know that.
Michaels guy.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about them is, CJ used to come watch us play all the time whenever we were just starting in like 97, 98. He and his band at the time, they would come watch us all the time. And I was like, and I always knew that CJ was a phenomenal guitar player, and just I'm glad he found a band that's stuck together, and that this business, you go through highs and lows, peaks and valleys, and you just got to stick it out. If you're with guys who the first you know, the first time you break down or the first time the club owner tells you suck, to never try to call them again or whatever, and they can't get through that stuff, and you know, still consider
wrong
yourself
business.
lucky. Consider yourself lucky. You know, they'll weed each other's out.
Right.
And you were talking about the wedding earlier and who played at the wedding.
Oh, Free World. What an amazing band from Memphis. If you ever get a chance to go see Free World, they play every Sunday night at the Blue City Cafe on Bill Street. 9 to 1, I think, is what time they play. And man, just amazing group of guys. And Richard Cushing, the bass player, you know, he's the head of the band. Just a brilliant mind, and like such a good talent, and he just works his tail off too. And yeah, they played our wedding reception, and it was great. We had it at Rick's in Starkville. Of course, Beth is a bulldog. I'm a rebel, so we're a house divided. It gets tense around Thanksgiving, but that's okay. It's all right. Egg bowl season.
And
you went, Derek. You went to state, didn't you?
Yeah, I graduated from Mississippi State. Yeah.
You're not really a bulldog though.
No. Yeah. I was Alabama fan way before I ever went to Mississippi State. Yeah. Yeah.
Y'all might have class together. You don't know.
At McCool, I took a lot of classes at McCool Hall.
Okay.
Business, the business school.
We're a house divided, so but yeah, we got married at the chapel there on campus at State, and we had a reception, a formal reception after that, and we had a throwdown reception at Rick's. So it was a good day. Everybody had a good time.
Nice. But so today, now you guys got Mark. So today's Spunk Monkeys would be you, Sean, and Jody, and Mark. How did that work out with getting Mark?
Well, it happened. Of course, Jerry started with us. Jerry Chadwick started with us in '93 as misbehaving, as a reformed misbehaving, and then we were together and went through the transition to. Of course, he ended up having getting married and having a son, Trey, who's also an amazing musician. And Jerry married one of my really good friends, Jennifer, who was from Myrtle. And he had a son, and he was out of the band for a couple of years, and we went through 2 other bass players. We went through a fellow named Guy Childers, one of our good friends from New Albany. He played bass with us. And Guy had also played guitar in a version of Misbehaving. He was the 5th member there for a hot minute. And then we had a guy named David Mitchell come in. David's from Cleveland, Mississippi. He was in a band called I Don't Know. I met them at Frazier's on Sunday night, drinking free beer. And he was with us for till about 96, I think. And then we started back doing the Kiss tribute. We started doing the Kiss tribute band, which Jerry he conjured that up somehow. Somehow Jerry got this gig in North Carolina through this. He got on the internet and said, "Hey, would you like to have a Kiss tribute band?" So he calls us and says, "Hey guys, I got this guy wanting to pay us a pretty good bit of money to come to a Kiss tribute show in North Carolina." So that was the start of Jerry coming back into the Spunk Monkeys right there. And then that was the classic Spunk Monkeys lineup: me, Chad, Jerry, and Jody. And we kept that going till 2010, maybe. Same lineup, so from 14 or 15 years right there. And Sean came in, we were 5-piece. And then Jerry wasn't in the band, and we got Dale Michael, from the Young Guns, Michael's brothers. He became our bass player for a while. And then we also got Andy Dixon, who was in a band called Jonathan Singleton and the Grove. He was our bass player for a while.
I jammed in
You
a
know,
band
kinda
with his
juggling.
dad one time.
Oh, Gary,
Yeah,
love all those Dixons. You know Blake too. Blake,
Oh, yeah,
Blake was in Saving Abel,
they're all awesome.
and
awesome
but,
people and musicians.
oh, they're great people. Love them. They so it's kind of like juggling. And we've had Brian Kingsley play bass with us. Ben Gibbons play bass with us. I think that's about it. Me and Chad have had to play bass with us before on a couple of gigs.
Bass players, man. I'm
So we
telling you.
kind of juggle around. Well, we hit that lull. Spunk Monkeys hit a lull like every band did pretty much in around 2016 and 2016 probably. And David Lynham, I don't know if y'all know him.
Know of him.
Yeah, this guy with the drumstick on his nose. David Lynham, he called me and was like, man, our band Lynham, we ain't doing nothing. I was like, our band Spunk Monkeys, we ain't really doing anything. Nobody's really pumped up to go try and play a high school prom or anything right now. We're not doing anything, hardly. We had an empty calendar. They had an empty calendar. So David was like, well, me and our bass player, Mark, we want to put together a band with you and Sean. I was like, okay. So I talked to my brother about it and talked to Jody about it. And they're like, man, go do it. Do whatever you got to do, man. And we were like, okay. So we put together a band called Danger City. And the whole, I guess what we ended up doing is we kind of started mixing Danger City and Spunk Monkeys, at least as far as the set list. They mixed it to where all the musicians knew that set list, knew that show, and we kind of used it the same show for Spunk Monkeys or for Danger City. And but we tried to get Danger City off the ground. We did some really cool shows. We played Navarre Beach at Juanas, Pagodas, and did Tail Fins. We did St. Patrick's Day party in Nashville. We did some pretty cool shows, and they ended up that kind of fizzled out. And Dave went on to form Get Sideways, and we brought Mark into the Spunk Monkeys as a full-time bass player then. And well, actually, Mark played a couple of shows where he was filling in as one of our fill-in bass players. You remember the conversation we had, Derek, where I was talking about just get you a few bass players, and that way you know your show.
Yeah.
And that way at least you have options until you can find that one guy that's dedicated. Well, Mark became really dedicated. He's as dedicated as any of us, maybe more because he has a drive from Birmingham. And so he's been just a real good fit. We're all good friends, and we all cut up together, and we all learning songs together, and we're playing well together, and we it's kind of once again bringing him in and finally getting a guy who could go and he works for himself, so he can go and do the gigs pretty much anytime. So being able to know that gave us another chance to level back up, another level. And it's been really good. He's been with us since 4 or 5 years now. So, so I think it's this COVID year, 2020, it's throwing me off on my years.
Just throwing your whole calendar off.
It's just throwing my internal calendar off. I didn't play anywhere.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how much did that hurt your full band stuff?
Oh man, it's like everybody else. I can't complain about it because I was in the same boat with everybody else. It's something that you couldn't do anything about it, no matter you could get on here and rant about it and stuff, but what good does that do? It's a time where I think that maybe, I don't know, maybe we all needed it. Maybe we all needed to stop and and figure some things out for a second. Man, we lost a lot of money. We lost a lot of gigs. We lost a lot of momentum because everything was going great. Man, we had, you know, it was going to be 2019 was our busiest calendar ever that we've ever had, and 2020 was topping it. And so it just we're like every other band, it pulled the rug out from under us. But you know, what are you gonna do? There's nowhere to play. Luckily in Tupelo, you know, after the first shutdown, we went to Neanderthal thinking, and they just kept the party going basically. A couple of new places opened up, like Billy opened up Shade Tree, and that's kind of, you know, you do what you want to do in that place anyway. And Steel's up and back up, and you know, we had those gigs, but we didn't play from March 14th until July, toward the end of July. We played a wedding that day.
Wow.
It was one of those things. I'm like y'all or any of the other guys. It's like whenever it started, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get like 2 or 3 weeks of just downtime, and I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna woodshed. I'm gonna, you know, fix some equipment. Our first day of it, I went over to Jody's house and we set up his whole drum kit, and we labeled everything, and like labeled the rug, and like we just set everything perfect, and you know, got everything perfect. Well, okay, cool. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and whenever all this stuff passes, and then we'll I can't wait to set your drums up, you know, just see how quick it goes now. So we did that, and then every day after that, I started getting cancellation after cancellation. First of all, Las Vegas canceled, and then all the Telfins dates canceled. Holy shit! And then freaking mouse, man, just ran up the wall. Oh,
probably drowning on the ground.
I don't crawl up in there and get that son of a bitch. But
how you just stop mid story
down from there. But so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna woodshed. I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna do vocal warm ups. I'm gonna learn some new songs. I'm gonna learn how to play guitar like Sean Miller. I'm gonna do all this stuff. And I kept getting these cancellations and everything. And finally, I just set my guitar, just like boom, set it down for 2 months. I didn't touch an instrument. Didn't even hardly listen to any music. I was like, nobody cares, man. Nobody wants a band. Nobody wants live music. You know, screw it. Just screw it. Because it's like they're talking.
It was disheartening.
Now they're talking about we're not gonna be able to play till this July, and then they're like, now they're talking about we're not gonna be able to play till the fall. Then they're like, college football is canceled. I'm like, we finally got an agent booking us at frat gigs. And then they're like, well, it's not going to be until 2021. And then it's like, oh my God, you know, what's actually going on here? And you're just like, okay, well, let me just, what do I do now? You know, what do I do to keep the sanity and everything? So here's what I did. I installed a water spigot. That was my first project. I installed a water spigot on my back patio. I'm like, okay, I did that. Now what can I do? I just started doing projects around the house, and I did a lot of reading, and I did a lot of just studying stuff and thinking about what I need to do whenever it does start back. And you know, it's just a big bummer, you know. But you know, you gotta make the most of it somehow, you know. I was like, man, well, I don't have any kids to really hang around with. You know, got dogs, and me and Beth would get out here and we would toss the football or something like that. You know, you couldn't go to the gym or anything. And we were on the road with that too. I was actually going to the gym like 8 weeks in a row. I think I was going like consistent. You know, that's pretty good for me. And then,
well, it's a hell of an excuse for you to fall off the gym wagon.
Yeah, that's
global pandemic.
That is right here. But that's why I can't fit into my trademark shirt. Because of COVID.
Thank God.
You know, we hung out, and during that time, I actually became my neighbor. We started hanging out and we've become best friends. And like, there, man, what a that's just a blessing in itself. Having my neighbor is the greatest neighbor in the world, and Kevin and his wife Peggy, and so we started hanging out and just started just in. And you're like, heck, let's treat it like a vacation. We can't do anything else. Just grill out, have fun, have some drinks, talk, cut up.
Find the positives in it.
Yeah, and we started me and Beth and I and Jody and his wife Michelle. We started playing tennis and going out and doing that. And one weekend, Beth and I went camping with Mark and his wife and David and his wife. We went over there, went camping, and just normal things, things that normal people get to do. Being in a band, you don't get to do things normally. Yeah. And I think it kind of messes with your head some too. It's like, we're driving back every Sunday from somewhere in some town, some club, whatever. And, you're passing by people on the golf course, or people are out in a boat skiing, they're walking their dogs, they're jogging, they're coming out of church with their families. And here you are in this van, a bunch of stinking band members in a crusty old band van, just trying to get back home, making a 4-hour drive every Sunday or whatever.
It ain't gonna feel like doing crap when you get home.
Yeah, you finally get home whenever the sun starts going down, and you're like, I just want to go lay in the bed now, shake it all off. But at least during this whole past year, we kind of got to experience some normalcy that other people get to do, that weekend stuff that we don't know. Of course, everything's closed, but can't go to Walt Disney World or anything. But yeah, it affected the band in a weird way. But finally, we were like, man, let's just get together and start rehearsing. So we, as a band, we started rehearsing here at the studio and started learning some new songs. And I wrote a few things and, started back playing and just kind of just reinventing ourselves a little bit. And all that. Did some Facebook Lives, and that was pretty neat. I thought it was cool that musicians were getting on Facebook playing music for anybody who wanted to see them at that time. It's not every day that you get to watch Tommy Shaw from Styx sitting on his couch playing acoustic versions of Carry On Away With that's Kansas, a Renegade or something like that. You don't get that every day. Or it's Steve Vai sitting around giving you little lessons because he got anything else to do. You would never get that any other year. So just enjoy it. And at a certain time, it's out of your hands. Just enjoy it and pray for it to come on back and be normal. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Can't cry over spilt milk.
And making the best out of that time down, and not just getting all down in the dumps. And, that's what we did. We took advantage and totally started.
Yeah, y'all did. Y'all were rehearsing every weekend pretty much, putting together the Dukes. But I mean, you can't, what are you going to do? Whine about it? Cry me a river. You can't, you can't cry over spilt milk, but I guess you can cry over a canceled 4th of July gig in Vegas, though, I guess.
So, okay, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jerry.
No, nothing. I was just saying that had to sting, stuff like that.
That's killer. That's a lot of them. But hey, came around once, I'll come around again.
Oh yeah,
be all right. It'll be all right.
We didn't get to talk much about Las Vegas, and that's a very big deal, man. Most people I know, I don't know anybody else actually that's around that's played Las Vegas.
Oh, it's great. It's an odd gig. It's a country gig. So our misbehaving history came in very handy on that. Of course, we do, we still throw in Don't Stop Believing and Pour Some Sugar. It's all, these days, it's all the same pretty much. But you do have to be up on the new country stuff. Some of the same stuff that Trademark was doing and everything. Dirt on My Boots and some of that kind of stuff, which in the long run helps our Spunk Monkeys gig because we can sprinkle a little bit of that in there. And but yeah, we the manager. There's this artist named Tyler Reeve how the hell did I forget about Shane Roby and our bass player?
Shane,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Shane, yeah.
He was with us for years. Anyway, and yeah, Shane, good Lord. We've got dirt on each other. But we won't talk about that.
Or
And
half naked pictures with other dudes.
so yeah, I wish I could hold that up right now. You can edit that in right here because I'm not in it. But there is an artist that Sean and Shane started playing with named Tyler Reeves out of Nashville. And he was doing some big showcases. He ended up having some hits. I think he had a #1 on 11th Theft album, and I played a keyboard on one of his showcases. Well, anyway, his manager became the booking agency for this club called Losers, and they opened up in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand. So he called Shane, and Shane's like, "You guys want to go do a country gig in Vegas?" Like, yeah, of course.
MGM Grand. At the MGM
Grand. Yeah. The big daddy. And so man, we started rehearsing like 3 nights a week for about a month, just getting our country, knowing, okay, we need to know at least one Johnny Cash song, one Alabama song, one, we need to know cover our 101s. And so we did that. We rehearsed, and we'd go there for a week at a time and play. And that's a good experience. Of course, with there you play 2 shows a day, so you don't get to see much of Vegas unless you do like me and go out at 2 a.m. in the morning. So, but it's man, that place is wild.
What was
Las
your
Vegas is
set?
very, very cool.
What was your set times on that? Like 1 in the evening, 1 in the night?
2 to 6, and then I think 9 to 1. So
yeah, it's a lot of playing in a day.
Yeah, and you can't. I don't know if y'all have ever been to Las Vegas or not, but
No,
you see something across the street you want to do, you can't just. It can be 100 yards away, and it takes you an hour to walk to it because the whole town just zigzags up and down. So you can't just like between your shows go catch something, go see something. It's like,
you better
so
stay close.
You're stuck in your little bubble there, kind of. You gotta stay close because it's a casino. You don't want to start 1 minute late at a casino.
Sure.
But no, that is. But yeah, it was a great experience. We went there with Shane a couple of times, and then Shane he moved with his job to Pensacola where he lived a few years. So we brought Dale with us one time, and he played it. And then the next time we played, Jody couldn't play it, so Sean ended up playing drums because Sean's actually a drummer, not a more so.
Found that out from Tim here recently. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Wonderful drummer, amazing drummer, and so he got on drums, and we brought our friend Blaze Wyndham in on guitar. So Blaze's dad is who owned the zoo, and Blaze he's a guitar player that like guitar players like Sean or any of these guys look at him and go, God, this guy's amazing. And Blaze is just an unbelievable guitar player. So we brought him in. We did a Vegas run with him, and then we did a couple more with Jody, and then COVID hit. So
I remember seeing the one where y'all had Blaze in the going over there to that thing.
Mm-hmm. And of course, at this point, clubs change, so booking agents change, contacts change. It's almost like starting back over to get in there, but we're making a little bit of progress there. But
Sweet.
Vegas, it's a fun gig. It's a little different, so because casino gig, but a cool casino gig.
I saw some of the videos from there when you would share them and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked pretty cool. Once again, we jealous watching them, you know.
That'd be a good place for the Dicks.
Dude, I was like, I remember looking, and I think I told you about it at one of our shows we did together, and it was like, man, how cool would it be, you know, to say, or just.
Well, the first time we went was right the week. I think it was like I was either closing the deal or we were about to fly out after that first show that Burnham Road, Trademark, and Spunk Monkeys did together out at Back Road.
Yeah.
Because we were outside talking about it. I was like, man, I can't believe like we're doing this Vegas gig. I'm like, I just hope we do good, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, you were actually talking about how expensive it was out there and how you had to take food, go get grocery store food and stuff, and, and a hot plate and all that kind of stuff to try to save money and all that.
Yeah. Well, you want to make a little bit. I mean, you want to have fun, but you know, okay, cool, but you want to make a little bit of money. I mean, that pays okay. You know, the big money that Sean and I would make is that we would go do acoustic gigs, you know, in the first half of the week before the full band would get there. So we just split the tips between two people and so forth.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jody.
Nice.
Sorry, Mark.
Got to do what you got to do, man.
Yeah. But I mean, those people, you know, if they won big, they go throw a black chip in the tip jar. I mean, $100 right there.
Wow.
Well, that's the difference in being at our age now and doing shows versus when we were, you know, 10, 20 years ago, whatever. You would just blow your, you know, a lot of your money, you know, and make those bad decisions. And you're just living it up day to day or week to week, you know, whereas now it's like, you know what, I may be alive in 2 weeks. I might need some money. Yeah. Yeah,
I know it, man. I might need to have hernia surgery or something. Yeah.
Dude, I remember that. How long ago has that been?
2 hernia surgeries in 1 year.
Oh, dang, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
how long has it been now? What, 4 or 5 years maybe? Or
yeah, I guess so. That was around the Danger City time. So my first gig back was with Danger City, and we played Floribama. And even David Lyman was like, man, I don't know how you're doing this. I was like, shot.
Yeah, that's where it pays to get some of that lighter equipment we were talking about earlier.
I know. Get a Helix.
Yeah, right.
Leave the Mars and stack at home.
Head rush.
But you know, the head rush. That's right. That's right.
Is there anything else, Matt, that you want to share on this? I mean, I know it ain't got to be band related or, you know, all that type of stuff, entertainment, but is there anything else that you think of that you think would be cool to put on this and leave this stamp behind?
Well, I think in whatever you do, whether it's in a band or whatever it is, you know, you have to figure out a way to be passionate about it. And, you know, whenever somebody says you can't do that particular thing, you know, you just let it go in one ear and out the other, because they don't matter. Just because that they don't have the balls to try something different don't mean that you don't have the balls to try something different. And but the thing is, just, you know, be prepared whenever opportunity does come knocking. Like, I guess in a band analogy, if you're a young band starting out, don't just put together a bunch of musicians and then start trying to book gigs. I think that's the number one mistake that so many musicians make, because they don't last. They don't last as a band. First of all, they just don't have it together. You know, get it together and rehearse for 6 months, you know, a couple of nights, instead of going out on the weekends trying to make $80 a night or $100 a night. Just stay in the practice room. It's going to pay off more if you do that than if you're just chasing a bill every Friday and Saturday. If you want to do a band, now, if you want to be a field musician, go do that. But you're putting together a band, there's just a lot more to it, and just be prepared. So whenever you do get that opportunity, you don't get up there and fall flat on your face. You get up there and you kick ass, and they want you back. So, my thing is work hard, find a way to put some drive behind your passion, and be prepared whenever opportunity knocks, because it'll knock in the times whenever you least expect it.
Heck yeah.
Agree with
Heck
that,
yeah.
totally.
Because and it's funny you went there, because I always ask what's one thing you would tell somebody to do, and what's one thing you tell somebody not to do in this business. And
Yeah,
kind of funny. That's cool.
and it's not even just that business. It's anything.
It really is.
Anything that you
Yeah.
do. But man, this business, especially if you get the chance to get on that stage, a big stage, like say it's at Rick's or it's at a opening for Poison or something, take the time to like take it seriously. And it's not just all fun and games. Be serious, be prepared, make sure your guitars and amps and everything sound good, and then just enjoy the ride, man.
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for everything, man. I didn't realize how deep Matt Nolan went, because I learned a lot. I learned a lot, even finding out some things, and this is pretty cool, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I haven't
been
laughed this
awesome,
hard
man.
in any of the podcasts.
Well, we're some idiots sometimes. We're the clowns.
That
We're the
is
spunk
true.
monkeys.
You start
Is
making
there anything with the spunks that you guys got coming up you want to let people on?
Well,
this won't air for a couple weeks,
of
but
course, this is not going to air for this weekend. I wish it was. Of course, we have this weekend back to back with
yeah,
Spunks Friday and Dukes of Country on Saturday. But then, what is next week? Oh, we have next weekend off. We have 2 weekends off this summer. One of them is next weekend, and I'm going to Nashville to see my friend John Milstead. We're going to have a jam session up there. I think some of Dirk Bentley's band is going to be there, and
wow.
it's going to be a fun time and just a little getaway. One last normal weekend before the summer goes crazy.
So you're going to get a weekend
next
off
week,
of playing music to go play music.
I know it. That's right. But
No,
this
that's
is
great though, man.
I don't have to sing "Sweet Child of Mine." No,
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, and then the following week, we're going to be at the Aberdeen VFW, which y'all might want to check in on that. Aberdeen VFW.
Yeah, we've talked to
heard
him
a little about it.
Yeah.
We have 4th of July in Fulton at the ATV park there. And we got a lot of private parties, and got Las Vegas coming up again. We're playing a show. We're playing a show with Saving Abel.
Yeah.
And that's in October in Baton Rouge
I saw that.
at the Basin Music Hall, I think is the name of it. Looks like an amazing venue. It was great. And we're going back down to the Golden Moon and Philadelphia and Ameristar and Vicksburg and Shuckers and Jackson. So wherever they let us play, we have the Nettleton. We have playing the festival in Nettleton. We're playing the Slugburger Festival in Corinth. We're playing the Sawmill Festival in Bruce. We're playing a festival in downtown Saltillo. And 2021 is looking great. We're booking them up, and the band is sounding good, and we're looking good, and that's the main thing. And we're feeling good, and we're just, I think us and everybody on the circuit, I feel like it's optimistic about this year, and
Yeah.
I hope everybody got their rest, because you're about to get on the roller coaster. It's about to begin.
Thank you for real for spending the night with us, man.
I've hated it's taking so long
wonderful.
to do this, but I mean, I ain't had to play any this week. It's like the only week I haven't really had to play any.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
got all
dude, I know
next
you're
week
playing.
I'm glad.
How are you playing constantly?
Yeah, we keep it working, man. Whatever it takes.
That's right. That's right. Amazing, dude. This was awesome. This was really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
it big time.
I did too, man. Good
And just-
talking to y'all, man.
You too,
Ain't no
man.
doubt. Ain't no
Love you,
doubt.
brother.
Love you, brother.
All right.
Yeah.
Love y'all.
All right, brother.
I'm a good
Hey, y'all have a good night.
Code
Later on,
Red
bro.
coming in. Peace out, brother.
Good night, y'all.
Diamonds
Later.
out.